Hi guys, it's Kathy. I hope you're doing well. I'm ready for the snow. I got my flannel shirt ready. I got a blanket for my lap ready. We're all ready. It's not the snow that we're going to have a problem with here. Um, we're only expected to get 4 inches, I think. Not a big deal. However, there's an ice storm that's following it. So on top of those 4 inches of snow, it's gonna be coated with ice. So, and it's not gonna drop. The temperature's not gonna rise to melt that ice anytime soon that I can see. So, the ice sucks. Ice sucks, especially on top of snow, because you got to break through the ice to get to the snow to remove it. It's just a pain, and it's a pain to drive in. We're gonna have to slow down to 45 because there's ice on the road, but we'll be okay. All of us are gonna do the same thing. We're gonna see it snow. We're gonna walk outside, and we're gonna say, "Nah, it's not even close to 2016." That was a really, really big snow. Big, 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 big. So, okay, McDonald. I'm playing McDonald, but all I could think about was OJ. I just can't wait to get to OJ.
Is this way? Goodbye. Can't see my children.
Yes, we saw that. Yes, we saw that.
I got you.
Our power lines are buried under the ground, so ice won't affect them.
This is the matter of McDonald versus McDonald, D15-518905D. This matter was set for 9 o'clock. It's now 5 after. Present is the plaintiff and counsel. Counsel, your appearance for the record.
Russell Collings, bar number 11363 on behalf of plaintiff who is present.
Good morning, counsel. Are you surprised that the defendant is not here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, there's a few things that are on. Mr. Gabados filed a motion to withdraw that's set for March 16th. I'm unsure if he's going to be here today. Have you spoken to him?
I haven't spoken to him at all.
All right, and then I see you filed a motion in limine that's set for 4/17, but certainly I'll hear that today. Why don't we have a seat? We'll stay on the record. We'll give them an additional 15 minutes and see if anyone appears.
He just came.
Do you need the binder? One for the court as well.
Hey, Fozzie. Thank you for waking me up. I appreciate it. A lot, a lot, a lot. Look, maybe Michael is sleeping. Fozzie, can you call Michael and wake him up? No, his lawyer is going to withdraw. It's a boy toy, not a toy boy. Why are you guys backwards? Well, I just found out he's about to show up, guys.
Mr. McDonald, we're on the record. This matter was scheduled to begin at 9 a.m. Council's already made their appearance for the record. I've noted for the record there are two matters pending.
Yay,
First, Mr.
Monica.
Gabato's motion to withdraw as counsel, but he's not here yet. Do you expect him?
Judge, I don't recall if he's going to come or not.
You don't recall? You don't
Yes.
remember, or you don't know?
I don't know, Judge. I actually ran into him on Friday, and he said he'd possibly be here. So I'd like to address that matter for trial.
Hi, Deborah.
Go ahead.
Well, first of all, Judge, I can't afford an attorney. I'm here representing myself as my financial situation cannot afford me an attorney, and we do not have due process of law, which is the Sixth Amendment, which is constitutionally protected. Alex Gabato has not filed anything in my case, Judge. He told me he would do
Sorry,
trial. I've been waiting
Debbie.
for months for something to be filed. Nothing's been done. So I'm here representing myself today, and I'll do the best I can. I would ask that this court grant me an attorney as pursuant to NRS 128.100, that an indigent litigant can ask for an attorney, especially in regards to parental rights being terminated, which I would say over a year without seeing my own children constitutes
Yay,
that,
Michael.
as well as not being able to afford one. But if not, I'll do my best at trial to bring up to have my day in court.
All right. Mr. Gabato's motion is set for March 16th, 2018. I signed an order to show cause. I don't think that he picked it up. An order shortening time. Counsel, did he serve on you the order shortening time?
He did not, Your Honor. I got a copy of the application, but that's all the application for an order
Shortening time, that's all you got. Mr. McDonald, did he serve on you a copy of the order shortening time relative to his motion so that I could hear it today instead of March 16th?
Yay, man.
I did not receive a physical copy of that, Judge.
All right. I'm not going to hear it because he's not here, but by virtue of him not being here, that kind of puts you in a difficult position, Mr. McDonald. I understand. I'm not going to grant your request for the court to appoint an attorney. I can appoint an attorney in a TPR matter. This is not a termination of parental rights, and we'll move forward today. Counsel, you filed a motion in limine to preclude defendant from presenting evidence of or reference to evidence not properly disclosed. Let's deal with that at the outset. Go ahead, counsel.
Yeah, Your Honor, we were here back in September on defendant's motion to modify. It was a motion for a lot of different relief. At the September 27th hearing, defendant's counsel conceded that it was simply he wanted to convert it to a simple motion to modify. All the other issues were dismissed, and at that time they requested that the matter be set for evidentiary hearing. That's when Your Honor on September 27th issued a case management order with very specific deadlines for designating witnesses, which was January 30th. A discovery cutoff was February 14th, and pretrial memos with a list of witnesses and exhibits was all due by March 6th. Throughout that 6-month period, defendant did absolutely nothing. There was no discovery conducted.
Did he respond to your discovery, counsel?
He did not. I didn't submit any discovery to him.
Okay.
I was just waiting for him, pursuant to NRS 16.1, to disclose the information. He is required
Debbie,
to disclose
thank
all
you so
information
much.
in
He
his-
made no
Thank you,
mandatory
Debbie.
disclosures.
I did not.
No, he did not.
He did not.
Mr. McDonald
He
did
did
not.
not make any disclosures whatsoever.
All right. And I note
He
that the
was
pretrial
also-
memo was filed almost a week late.
Yeah, it was filed on March 13th. I did not receive a copy of it until March 14th, just 2 days before trial, which makes it very difficult for me to be able to either rebut or respond to any of the evidence, which there is a lot of evidence that was produced that has no bearing whatsoever on a motion to modify and what we were here to talk about today.
Judge, may I speak to that?
I'm going to give you an
So-
opportunity now. What I'd like to do, so that you both understand, we're not going to interrupt each other all day. I will give you a chance to respond to everything, Mr. McDonald, but you will not interrupt me and you will not interrupt counsel. I expect the same from counsel. All right, Mr. McDonald, what is your response? He's saying that you haven't made any mandatory disclosures. You didn't file a pretrial memo on time. You didn't give us exhibits on time. This is, trial by ambush. At the last minute, you provide us documents.
So, Judge, I was advised by counsel not to file anything, not to do anything, so I didn't. I was waiting on him. I was completely confident in his abilities to prepare for trial, as I'm not qualified for that. So I didn't file anything. I was following advice. I was following all orders of this court to the best of my ability, and I found out last minute that he's dropping me. So I wasn't able to afford him or any other attorney within such a short amount of time, and without all my monetary resources being drained by lies of this court or lies of opposing counsel. I would like to say that my case would consist, as I filed this motion, that all the previous motions that I filed, I want to address is in regards to custody, assets, and child support. And I would like to address those things today in court, and my case will consist of a sworn statement to the court of all that matters in my case today with the exhibits. And which I did file, I did scramble to file a pretrial memo and get that prepared with the exhibits.
Emma, thank you,
I did my best
Fuzzy.
to follow the orders of the court. I did not
Thank you,
understand
Fuzzy.
how to do discovery, so plus I was advised by him not to file anything. So
All right, at the status check, September 27, 2017, your counsel withdrew all of your other requests as to all other issues and asked me to treat that as a motion to modify custody. We have an evidentiary hearing set today on your motion to modify custody. So I'm making a decision today on your motion to modify custody. Now let me set some ground rules and rule on the motion. You two can have a seat.
So Judge, can we address the issues of custody and then property maybe at a later time then?
All right, have a seat, sit down. I'm going to tell you how we're going to proceed today. Your motion, your request, this evidentiary hearing is set to modify custody. At the end of today, I will make a determination as to that request and that request only. I will give each party today 3 hours to present their case. All right. I am going to deny today counsel's motion in limine to strike the evidence or preclude defendant from presenting any evidence that was not previously disclosed. The rule allows me to do that because you didn't do anything. You didn't make any mandatory disclosures that are required by the rule. You didn't give us your pretrial memo, counsel in the court, well in advance. You didn't drop off the exhibits as the court ordered, and counsel abided by that order. However, I'm going to allow you to present whatever you're going to present, and I will give it the weight that is appropriate. At the evidentiary hearing on August 16th, 2016, the court issued a written decision on August 31st, 2016, relative to that evidentiary hearing. I ordered joint legal custody and primary physical custody to mom and gave dad visitation every other weekend. Among other things, I found that Mr. McDonald committed multiple acts of domestic violence, including pushing Mrs. McDonald down to the floor, handcuffing Mrs. McDonald, restraining Mrs. McDonald against her will. Further, Mr. McDonald prevented Mrs. McDonald from leaving their residence to obtain medical treatment for their child despite medical advice. Mr. McDonald appealed. The Nevada Court of Appeals unanimously affirmed the judgment of the district court and remitted or issued. November 29, 2016, just months after the final decree had been entered, Senior Judge Kathy Hardcastle heard Mrs. McDonald's motion to modify custody and visitation. Judge Hardcastle was extraordinarily concerned about Mr. McDonald's behavior in court, the domestic violence arrest, and other issues. Judge Hardcastle modified visitation to supervised visitation. On May 2nd, 2017, the court temporarily granted Ms. McDonald sole legal custody, primary physical custody, as she had always had primary physical custody, and supervised visitation was temporarily suspended pending Mr. McDonald's release from custody. On September 5th, the court heard Mr. McDonald's motion to reinstate joint legal and joint physical custody. Mr. Luke requested a continuance. On September 29th, Mr. Gabato altered and amended the request from the defendant, and the court granted Mr. McDonald's motion and set today's evidentiary hearing. Pursuant to McMonigle and Counsel, the court will not consider any facts or circumstances that occurred prior to the last custody hearing. The last custody hearing date was August 16th, 2016. What that means is the court cannot consider any fact or event that happened prior to that date. Each party is going to have 3 hours.
Which is an excellent advantage for the person, for him. Because if he would have just behaved like a normal human being from that last date until now, he would get to see his kids.
As I indicated, I have a stopwatch. Each side will have an additional 15 minutes at the conclusion of today to present closing arguments. That's not included in the 3 hours. So let's talk about how we're going to proceed today. Mr. McDonald, it's your motion, so you'll proceed first. Okay, so you'll have a 3-hour block in the morning. You may reserve a portion of your time to conduct cross-examination or question plaintiff's witnesses in the afternoon. Okay, so you may choose, it's your choice. You can use the entire 3 hours to tell me everything you want to tell me this morning, and then have no questions for their witnesses in the afternoon. Or you may choose to divide your time in whatever manner you think is appropriate and use an hour or two this morning or any amount of time, and then reserve some time in the afternoon to question their witnesses. That's up to you. Okay? How many witnesses do you have today? Who do you plan on calling to testify?
I do plan on having her parents be witnesses. I do have other witnesses that were able to make it, as my brother is off on drill. My mom is, most of my families have prior issues or employment they were not able to do.
So just you and her parents, is that correct?
Judge, I could bring an army of people in here to attest to my character and to my...
Okay, is that what you're doing today? I need to know just so that I can know how we're going to spend our time this morning.
I don't think that would be warranted, Judge. I could have, if you think if it would bear weight to your decision, I will summon a bunch of witnesses. But if not,
This is your case and your motion, so you decide what you would like me to hear.
I don't want to waste the court's time in bringing all those.
Okay, so what's the answer to the question? How many people do you have? 3? You and her parents? Is that right?
Me, her parents.
Okay, so 4.
Other witnesses that are present.
Who's the other witnesses that are present?
Her father, her mother, and
Okay.
Even Kendra over there. And
Who's Kendra?
Kendra is the
Okay, is that her friend or her sister or who's that?
friend that can attest to us living life together, so, and to the stuff that happened within our divorce or things that.
Okay, do you remember that I just said I'm not going to hear anything that happened before August 16th?
And she would not be able to.
Okay.
But her
So-
boyfriend would be able to.
Okay, all right. These are the last times I'm going to remind you of the rules, okay? I'm going to if you spend your time telling me about stuff that happened in 2008 or 1986 or whenever it is, if it's before that August 2016 date, the court's going to filter it and is going to apply McMonigle and Counsel appropriately. So I've told you multiple times about the rule. I've corrected you. I've asked you. So you spend the time as you want. Counsel, how many witnesses do you have?
We just have Candace and Michael that we plan. Her father
Okay.
is here that we have listed. I do want to address his witness statement.
Sure.
According to his pretrial memo, he listed himself and plaintiff as the only witnesses. Her friend is here as support. She is not listed by either myself or by Mr. McDonald as a witness. And we would just ask that it be limited to the witnesses listed in the pretrial memo.
Mr. McDonald, how do you respond to
Judge,
that?
I would like her mother to be here as well, and she can attest to the things that happened.
Is her mother even at court today? Okay, so she's not here today.
She was on the witness list, Judge, and
On
she,
your witness list?
She was on their witness. I believe that she was on mine as well. But
Did you
she can
subpoena
attest
her?
to things that happened after the court.
Did you subpoena her?
Judge, I don't know how to do that.
Okay, so she's not here today, okay? So let's get
Her
started.
father might be able to.
Okay, well, let's get started. Counsel, do you have an opening statement that you'd like to make today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, Mr. Gabato's here. Good morning, Counsel. How are you? We've started already. We were set to start this morning at 9 o'clock, so we've dealt with some issues. Your motion to withdraw as counsel is on for today. Is there anything you want to tell me in reference to that?
Well, Your Honor, I think that defendant has a right to, he's entitled to his own case. There was disagreement about how that case should be presented. And it's a fundamental disagreement. I can't assist him anymore, given
Okay.
what the direction he wants to take. He wants to persist in that direction. And so for that reason, it has to withdraw and allow him to present his case.
All right. Mr. McDonald, do you have any objection? Anything you want to say
Yes,
in
I would
reference?
object to that, Judge, as I've
Okay.
been, I prepared the best to my ability, but I would ask that a Ferreira waiver be put in place, that he can stay on as co-counsel to help assist in attorney duties
Me
to
too.
provide assistance to counsel, as I don't.
You're asking me to do a phoretic canvas?
For the canvas for the attorney to stand as co-counsel or as stand by as co-counsel to
You-
assist in presenting my case and asking questions, as I'm unable to ask questions of myself.
You want him to act as standby counsel?
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Gabato?
It's up to you, Your Honor. What to say about that?
You need assistance.
Here's the deal, Your Honor.
So generally, that is, well, not generally, all of the time, those cases, standby counsel is afforded when litigants, specifically criminal defendants, have a right to counsel, but want to represent themselves and don't want appointed counsel. And so the court is extraordinarily concerned about their ability to represent themselves adequately, will appoint standby counsel. That's not what we do in civil matters. You have no right to an attorney. The county is not going to pay for somebody to be your attorney. This is your motion to modify custody. So counsel has indicated that there is a fundamental disagreement between the two of you. It sounds as like, from what counsel is telling me, that this impacts his ethical duties of candor towards the court and his ethical duties about what type of evidence and the truthfulness of the evidence he's allowed to present. That's what concerns me. If I were to appoint counsel as standby counsel, I'd be ordering him to make some ethical decisions and do something he's not comfortable doing. He said it in his motion. He said it to the court. I think he's trying to be extraordinarily professional and not implicate any attorney-client information, confidential information that perhaps has been shared between the two of you in preparation for today. I'm not going to order Mr. Gabato to do that or violate his ethical duties. Mr. Gabato, anything else?
Nothing else, Sharon. I would. The only thing that I would say is that I think what's appropriate for this case is that it be status checked and that Mr. McDonald be given an opportunity to satisfy some of the requirements that were previously imposed, including the criminal matter. I think that if he did that and he did it diligently, regularly, I think it would go a long way with this court. Convincing the court that he is going to be a suitable custodian for his children, suitable to be around his children. And that was what I was going to suggest to the court, suggest Mr. McDonald that if he accepts that, that's probably in his best interest. If he can't do that, then I have to step out.
I understand, counsel. Mr. McDonald, anything?
Judge, I would ask that Mr. Gabato help in the direction or the assistance of presenting the trial cases. As I have not.
I just indicated I'm not going to do that. Mr. Gabato has ethical duties and rules that he has to abide by as an officer of the court. What he has told me here in court, what he has written in his motion, is that there's a fundamental disagreement between the two of you. He has a duty of candor towards this court. He cannot suborn
Judge, is there,
perjury. And so I'm not going to order him. If you two have a fundamental disagreement, a fundamental difference, he cannot act as standby counsel. I can't order him to do so. This is not a criminal case.
Judge, I would ask that there should be afforded assistance of counsel when in matters of this magnitude of stripping of parental rights for over a year for property that's in excess of $50,000 or more, $100,000. And I ask this court that I have that assistance of counsel, and that there isn't a fundamental difference. There is a duty to the court when there is an attorney that says that they will do their due diligence in your case, and then to not be afforded that time to scramble at the last minute or not file anything. There should be a duty, and attorneys should be held accountable for not.
That's between you and counsel, and I don't have jurisdiction over that. I am not going to continue today, all right? This is your motion. After request for continuance, and multiple appearances by multiple attorneys, this case, these children, you deserve finality. I'm giving you an entire day. The next entire day I have available is in August. We're not going to wait that long. We'll do it today, all right? This is a motion that perhaps should have been filed in writing, a calendaring issue that should have been raised at the calendar call. Certainly, Mr. Gabato's reasoning is appropriate that we wait until your criminal cases are closed. That's a reasonable request. And I can see where he's coming from. However, you two disagree about the fact that you have a fundamental disagreement. You say you don't, he says you do.
Never ever do today what you can put off until tomorrow.
So that means you do. All right, thank you, counsel.
Real quick for the record, that what he said kind of touches on that fundamental disagreement. He wants to take this in a direction that I'm just not willing to go. He wants to argue about his rights, his constitutional rights, and his understanding of his constitutional rights. His understanding of his constitutional rights, what he wishes his rights to be, rather than what they are. And I just can't take it in that direction.
Judge, I'd like to rebut.
Including, in addition to what you've already stated, Your Honor.
I just want to present evidence of all the things that I've done up to this, and what's in the best interests of my children, and what our children, and what I've done. I've followed all the court's order. I've done my best to my ability to redeem myself, to show this court that I've done everything possible to be able to see my children, and to be the best co-parent and father that I can be. And I'd like to present that to the court. I also would like the court to consider that my criminal charges are on appeal, and I filed my criminal appellate briefs, and I'd like the judge to review those and take a look at that and give that weight, as well as I can attest that. And I've even though I have 3 years to do certain things, and I've done my best to follow those orders and follow the advice of counsel, which I've been doing to the best of my ability.
All right. Thank you. We're moving forward today. Thank you, counsel. I'm granting your motion. You'll prepare an order, counsel.
Guys, it's okay. It's fine. He's in law school, remember? He doesn't even have a bachelor's degree yet. But he's in law school. Even though everybody else in the world needs a bachelor's degree just to get into law school, he's in law school.
Thank you. All right. Everybody have a seat. As we were discussing, you'll each have 3 hours. Counsel, how many witnesses did you plan to call? Just the parties?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And so, Mr. McDonald, and then I'm sorry, I forgot where I was. I was asking you if you had an opening statement or you'd waive opening statements today.
I would like to make an opening statement.
Go ahead, counsel.
Do I go first on that, Judge?
You're right, Mr. McDonald. You do go first. Go ahead, Mr. McDonald. Make an opening statement. An opening statement is not argument. It's a list of things that you are. Tell me what you're going to prove to me today and what you plan on showing through the evidence. Go ahead.
So, Judge, like I said, I'm here representing myself as my financial situation cannot afford me as attorney. I said I would like the assistance of counsel, as I am not yet an attorney. One day I hope to strive to become one and learn this process. My case will consist of a sworn statement to the court of all my matters in this case, in regards to custody, property, and child support, as I originally filed those motions and did not agree with counsel to preclude that. I would like the court, if not to see the custody, the property matters, that be trailed at some other date or some other time that we could address that, as there's significant property issues and orders of this court that were not followed per the divorce decree in regards to selling the house and the improper sale and marital waste and assets that were stolen and burglarized from the house. So I would like to bring up those issues, and I've also included that in my exhibit list. So I would like to go first in this case and prove to the court what happened and prove the case that's at hand. And the major thing is that I've had zero contact with my children almost 450 days. I'm a loving and caring father. I've done my best to follow these court's orders and obey all the orders that were put in this court and in municipal court. I would like to show the court that this is a case of extreme parental alienation and pathogenic parenting, that I've done my best to follow and comply with all orders of this court, and that I could show the court how much I've learned in so many things. So much has happened in the past year that I'd like to present. Over the past year, I've learned so much. I've read over hundreds of books. I've completed almost 25 domestic violence classes, which I've learned that everything is domestic violence. I had no understanding of some of the things that are or aren't, and I would like to present to this court that there is a major issue of fraud upon this court and lies and deceit by counsel here. And I would like to present those evidence that I have and show this court that I am a good and loving father, that there's no warrant for keeping children from a loving parent for over 450 days without the proving of unfitness. Judge, I've never been proven unfit. I am a fit and loving father. I've taken well care of my kids. I've also had them for over a year while up to trial of October of 2016 before the series of unfortunate events that happened where my attorney took his own life, and I scrambled to try to understand this court process and try to proceed. Judge, this is the most emotional time. They say that divorce is worse than death. I'd like this court to take that into weight, that a divorce is an emotional matter. It's a matter of the heart.
It's
and
fun.
When children are separated, when they're not able to see their parents, that it causes deep-rooted psychological issues, which I'd like to show in my exhibits that I've included as well. I have completed counseling, Judge. I've been seeing them through, which I will show through my exhibits and through this trial. I've done so many things. I've done a psych eval just to prove to the court as well, to show that this court that I'm of sound mind and of sound body and mind to.
Divorce is like, have you ever been, like, you haven't been able to eat for like a day and a half and you're really, really, really hungry, and then all of a sudden there's this huge buffet in front of you? That is divorce.
Raise and love my own children and be in their lives and be a good co-parent. I've taken parenting classes and divorce care classes at my church that I could show evidence to, and I'd like to attest. I'd like to also prove the fraud, the baiting, the entrapment, the complete lies, the poisoning of the well that her counsel have also committed, and extreme fraud upon the court, which and upon the rights of this court in in regards to property and custody. I do ask that you judge take all this into weight, and that the court grant joint physical custody, as I have had our children for over a year pending trial. I was well able to take care of our children. But now my house, the house that we raised our children in, has been sold. Their toys and their furniture has been thrown away in a dumpster, along with the items that were stolen from outside of the property. Judge, you put in orders that I did my best to follow, that were put in place, that were I perceived as contradictory.
The house
I could
was
not
sold.
follow. I've learned so much that following orders are, and so many things that what I can and cannot do, and things that I really would like to show and prove to this court today. So I ask that you I may have the ability to present this case and to be able to show the exhibits, that you take this into weight, And I want the court to understand that it's not in the best interest of children or parents to be alienated, be separated from their parents. As a cause,
The judge
it's
does,
not best
yes.
to not be able to see them, not to withhold love from a loving parent. To be able to not be in their lives, to not be their coach, not be their steward in life. So I asked this court today to take those things in merit and to give that chance and give the weight of this court and to redeem myself between this court and expose those lies and deceit and slander that was caused by the plaintiff and her counsel. Well, I think that's it.
His part of the equity probably went to pay her attorney fees.
Counsel?
Sure, Honor, just real quick.
Have a seat, Mr. McDonald.
The evidence that we intend to show today, and we want the court and even the defendant to keep in mind that this is defendant's motion, that it is his burden to show that there's been a substantial change in circumstances and that it is in the best interest of the
Yes.
children for there to be a modification of custody. We intend to introduce evidence to show that Mr. McDonald has been found guilty of violating a restraining order. He's been found guilty of battery domestic violence. He pled no contest to 2 other instances of violating a protective order. And throughout the entirety, he's been unable to comply with virtually any order issued by the court. He still, to this day, refuses to take responsibility for his own actions. He refuses to accept that change needs to be made before he can be considered a suitable parent and custodian for these children. There's been a lot that's happened
Or lie or
out
cheat.
in social media, on YouTube videos that just recently were removed and we lost access to, that were posted by Mr. McDonald, that just demonstrate that he has not taken the steps necessary to change to become a suitable parent. He mentions that there was that he did a psych eval this court on 2 different occasions, once in November and once at the September hearing, ordered him to get a psych eval in preparation for this hearing today. That has not been completed.
Objection.
And there's just no evidence that Mr. McDonald can produce that will show that
I still would, but I wouldn't like
it is in the
it.
best interest of the children for a motion to modify to be granted at this time.
Thank you, counsel. Anything else?
Nothing else, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. McDonald, call your first witness. If you'd like to call yourself, just let me know.
Well, Judge, I have my exhibit list here. I present these to the court, and
Are those the exhibits that proposed exhibits that you attached to your pretrial memorandum?
yes, Judge.
Okay. I have a copy of those you have additional copies for the court?
Yes, there's additional
Okay.
copies.
Why don't you give a copy to counsel? Who is your first witness?
The first witness I'd like to ask is the plaintiff to be on stand.
All right. Ma'am, come on up to the witness stand. Remain standing. Raise your right hand to be sworn.
I was not prepared mentally for him to question her today. Let's go. Here we go, guys. Oh, man.
All right. I am starting the clock. Remember what I told you I'm going to consider. And your time.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to make in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Ma'am, have a seat. Go ahead, Mr. McDonald.
First, Candace, I'd like to ask, how are our children doing? I've not seen them in over 400 days, in over a year, since last Christmas in 2016. How is Mason and Malia?
Mason and Malia are doing well.
Do they ever ask about their father?
They do.
And what do you tell them?
Objection, Your Honor.
Allow it.
I tell them that you love and miss them, and that when you start doing what you need to do, they can see you again.
Do you think it's best for Mason and Leah not to have their father?
Absolutely not.
You don't believe that it's okay not for the kids not to see their father?
No. I wish that they could see you.
Then we ask them why certain things have happened and occurred that have. Did you deny letters to the children that were written to them and pictures that were drew of
Yes.
superheroes and stuff?
Yes.
Why?
The letters contained inappropriate information that children should never know or hear or read or see.
So they never saw pictures that were drawn, just happiness and superheroes and different things. How are the kids' grades?
Well, Mason's the only one in school. Mason's doing well in school.
Is Malia still having rectal prolapses? Did she have surgery?
Leah has not had one rectal prolapse in over a year and a half.
What do they call your boyfriend? Do they call him Daddy?
No, they call him Joe.
On the day of, in October of 2016, there was a phone call that was placed that we had orders not to have any contact except for talking parents. Did you call from an unknown number asking for more money and to pay it, and then you let defendant call his children as it was ordered on the divorce decree, said that he could have a reasonable phone conversation with his kids? Did you make that call from an unknown number?
This was clearly before the last case, so it doesn't matter. The judge is not going to consider it.
I have never made any calls to the defendant from an unknown number.
And there's records of that. Okay. Did you not record around November, after defendant paid and supposedly called from an unknown number asking to speak to his children? Did you just say that you're recording this call and that you're gonna and asked that and said that you're going to report it to authorities when he just asked to speak to the children?
I'm sorry. I don't.
There was a phone call that was placed at a certain time to ask to speak.
Objection, Your Honor. Lax foundation.
Okay, give us a little bit more foundation. Approximately when? November of what
In
year?
November of 2016.
Okay.
After the bill was paid, as requested, did you not make a phone call, or did a phone call not come through in what you recorded, and that you tried to put in place to record and to give to the police in order to throw defendant in jail?
Objection, Your Honor. Lax foundation as to who's making a phone call, who's receiving a phone call, what numbers are being
All right,
called.
in the interest of efficiency, does any of that ring a bell?
I did record a phone call that, yes, I turned over to my domestic violence advocate.
Okay.
On or around January 12th of 2017, did you and your parents enter the house on 5813 Maynard and break in and dismantle a camera system and steal property that was of the defendants? That
No.
So there was no breaking in, there was no taking the property?
No, there was not.
Now, you say that, yet there is a list of exhibits here that show that all these items that were taken out of the house illegally. So I'd like to present that to the court to show that the plaintiff is...
Objection, Your Honor. Nothing has been substantiated or demonstrated to show anything was removed illegally.
Let me show
Again, for about the third or fourth time, the issue that's on today is your request to modify custody. That is what we are doing. If I'm not going to admit exhibits about anything other than custody. So you can spend your time questioning her about things other than custody, and I'm going to allow you to do that. But I'm not going to admit and overrule their objection about relevance, because property and issues regarding the house are not on calendar today.
I would like to present that at a later time then. But I will try to keep my questions in regards to custody then. Plaintiff, Candace, do you agree that Michael McDonald is a good and loving father of his children?
No.
No. Did you not write a letter that saying how good of a father that he is?
Hi,
and
I
how
am Joe.
Beyond the scope of this.
I'll allow it.
so much of a gift and from God that he was to his children?
Hi, John.
Did you not write a letter as to that?
I did write a letter in the way past, like maybe 6 years ago, 7 years ago, that did say that. That was in my personal journal.
Did you not do various Facebook posts and things saying to the parenting and lovingness of their father?
I'm sure I probably made Facebook posts, but again, they were probably shortly after we were married, or I don't recall specifically, but I'm sure in the past I did make those posts about you being a good person and so on.
Did the defendant, Michael McDonald, the defendant, was he the coach of his son's soccer team and of Malia's various activities?
No.
So he never went to soccer practice or coached with
You went to
NYS?
Soccer, you went to soccer practice, yes, but you were never the coach. And Malia was a baby, 9 months old, when we separated, so I don't know what activities you might be referring to for her.
So he was not the coach of the NYS soccer
No.
and for his baseball stuff? No.
Mason only started baseball this year.
Did the defendant teach his son how to swim at a year and a half years old? And Malia had to swim and ride his bike without training wheels.
I do believe that you taught him to ride his bike without training wheels. However, Mason still cannot swim. So he's taking classes at the YMCA actually to learn how to swim. And for Malia, what did you ask about Malia?
Did the defendant actually, did he attend the classes for Malia? Did he pick her up at daycare? Did he take care of her, change diapers, feed her bottles while you were attending night school? And while Mr. McDonald would pay for your schooling to become a teacher? Would he not take care of...
Hold on.
Beyond the scope
So
of
you have to ask a question and then give her time to answer it, okay? You asked about 8 questions really quickly, okay? And we have to give her an opportunity to answer it, or she's going to get too confused and won't be able to answer them. So one at a time. So let's go back. Ask one question.
Did the defendant, Michael McDonald, take care of his children while you attended night school?
I attended night school when I was pregnant with Malia for 1 semester, and yes, you did take care of Mason at night on Tuesdays when I had night school.
Did he not change diapers and feed her and take care of her while you attended extra classes to finish your ASL degree for the last those 2-3 years that you?
I do not have a degree in ALS, and
To your English degree.
did you? Are you asking if you changed diapers when I went to school?
Did I take care of the children?
I would
Yeah,
say
sure,
you
sure.
attempted to take care of them. Was it done properly or well? Like, no, but I mean, I would say there were times, yes, that you changed a diaper.
So during the time of separation, did you not take a trip to Chicago and leave the kids with the defendant, with Michael McDonald?
I did take a trip to Chicago for my best friend's wedding. Yes, I did do that.
During the separation and the allegations of the TPOs that you filed, did you not send a text message to Mr. McDonald giving the gate code, even though you said that you're afraid for your life?
I don't know what you're referring to, but I can tell you that there was never any communication during any time that there was a protective order at all. And so I always followed the court's rules on that, and I have been afraid for my life throughout this entire process, and even still today.
So what makes you afraid of your life? Has there been any threats? Has there been?
There have been. There was.
Especially over the past year?
Yeah, there was a recent video on YouTube posted where you said that you were making a threat. You directed it to Mason and Malia. You said in that video that you had thoughts of harming me, but you didn't want to do that to them because you know that would make them suffer. And that was November of this year. So am I concerned for my life? Sure. When you make threats about saying that you have thoughts of harming me, vengeful thoughts of harming me, that's concerning. When you put private information out on YouTube that has private conversations that you and I talked about where you suggest that my fiance molested our daughter, that's pretty scary and psychotic to me. And it doesn't show me that you're in your right state of mind to be doing those kinds of things. So it causes me to be very scared.
Let's talk about
and
that.
concerned.
Actually, so during the right before trial, after the trial that we had when my attorney was not present, I was denied any access to my children, which I had them every weekend, and we were being good co-parents before that TPO. We'd call each other, we'd do things for the court.
Remember, we have to ask one
Let
question.
me ask you then. During that 90 days that the defendant did not see his children, did you not send a talking parents letting him know that Malia had a rectal prolapse and that she may require surgery?
Yes, I did send that message. You're her father. You deserve to know what's going on with her medically. I absolutely sent that message. Yes.
And when the defendant asked in regards to who was watching the children, the Summer, who's a drug addict, and her judge, or Joe, who is known to have raped one of your, did Joe not rape one of your mutual friends, Nicole Ruiz?
I'll allow it.
Did you not tell me that yourself?
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
Did you not tell me that Joe raped Nicole?
No, I did not tell you that.
Never.
No, did not happen.
Did you not talk bad about him before when he was dating your friend?
Objection hearsay, Your Honor.
That would be hard for me to do.
No.
You never said
Joe has
anything bad
always
about
been a friend.
and say how he was on drugs, doing marijuana and cocaine and other different things.
No.
You don't recall that?
No.
Okay. Now, during that 90 days, did the defendant not ask who's watching his children?
You did.
Can we back up? When was this 90 days? I need some better foundation.
This was after the October trial of October of 2016. So this is then
There was a trial in August.
August.
There was
sorry,
no
Judge.
trial in October.
August of 2016, when my attorney did not show up. I had my kids every weekend for a year. I was taking good care of them, and then after that, nothing for 90 days. And I filed various motions to reconsider.
Okay, so the 90 days after the August
I'm not sure, Judge.
hearing. Go ahead.
And try to retain new counsel.
Oh, so what's the question?
So after that 90 days, or did Malia require surgery?
No.
Did you tell the defendant that she had a gluten allergy and you weren't sure what was going on, but you were trying to investigate it?
Yes.
Did the defendant ask if your emotionally disturbed brother was watching the children alone?
You asked me after I told you all of that, what male was watching my children? Was it Joe? Was it my two brothers? That's what you asked me. But I don't have emotionally disturbed brother, and you didn't use those particular words. So I guess the answer to your question would be no.
Did you ever go out and party and leave the kids with various people?
No.
So the one time that you sent the gate code and told me to bring you coffee and to drop off the kids, did you not have a stamp on your hand from going out and you appeared to be recovering from a hangover?
I'm sorry, I don't really understand. What exactly
So
are
do you drink?
asking?
Candace?
No, I don't drink.
Do you
I
smoke
haven't.
marijuana?
I have in the past. No, I don't smoke marijuana.
So have you ever smoked marijuana?
I did one time.
One time. Does Joe smoke marijuana?
Joe-
Objection, Your Honor. She can't answer for.
Well, if you know.
Or around the
He
children?
doesn't. No.
So after that 90 days, the children were put in where it was granted, the defendant was granted every other weekend with his children. The children let the father know that Joe was watching them alone, and that Mason had
Your Honor, can
had
we
locked
instruct
out
the
of the room.
defendant to ask questions
Did
and not make statements?
did Mason not?
Mr. McDonald, I really need you to ask questions so that
Yes,
I can follow. Counsel and I are struggling here.
So after that 90 days, did Mr. McDonald did Mason, was Joe watching Mason and Malia alone?
No.
Never.
No.
So does he watch them alone?
No.
So on the recently, what in November, did he not take them to Aviation Nation and take them to parks alone and take both the children?
No.
I have
He-
evidence. Really? He never takes the children or is with them.
No, he doesn't. Nope. Because of all the CPS cases well, I will say this. He has been alone with Mason. He's never alone with Malia. Because of the CPS case, the CPS worker instructed me, just for safety precautions, that Joe never be alone with Malia. And so I have followed that. The only person that Malia ever stays with is, if she's being babysat, is my sister or my mom.
So does Joe work? Is he unemployed and watching the children?
Joe works full time.
And did you not send a text message during that time
Which
saying
time?
that he's off on Tuesday and he'll be watching?
Lax Foundation. Your
Okay,
Honor.
so she's asking which time because you lack foundation.
There's-
Hold on, so that you understand, so this goes quicker. Foundation means the basis. What time, when, so that we all can keep up. So what time are you talking about again?
So during after August around October of 2016, was there not a text from you saying that if you don't pay the daycare in full, that Joe will be watching
Security
you and Malia
for the
alone,
win.
as you can't afford daycare?
I did send that text. Basically, in essence, you weren't paying childcare. At this time, there were no allegations towards him at all. And if I could cut down daycare from 5 days a week to 4 days a week because he had 1 day off, that was what we had talked about. Now, obviously, after the allegations came out and so on, that wouldn't even be a good idea. And so that never happened. He never watched her alone. And because CPS had instructed me, just for safety precautions in case there were ever any allegations in the future, Malia is never alone with Joe.
So do you agree that, was there ever discussions between us that we would never let strangers watch our children alone?
Joe is not a stranger, but I mean, yeah, we did have those discussions. I take it very seriously who watches the kids. I made sure that whenever I had a babysitter that they were drug tested, CPR certified, made sure that they had experience. I wouldn't even allow anybody under the age of 18 to care for our kids. So yeah, it's really, really important to me to make sure that whomever is watching our kids is solid and safe, and that's something I still value.
So who watches the children while you go out and party or have different drinking events?
Objection, Your Honor.
I'll allow it.
I don't go out and party. Honestly, I hardly ever go out. If I go out at all, then the person that watches my children is either my parents or my sister.
Around October of 2016, when Mr. McDonald was awarded every other weekend with his children, Mason said that he was being watched, him and Malia were being watched, and that he was locked out of the bedroom while Malia was there with Joe. Then after, did the defendant not send you 9 felony charges for lewdness of minor and sexual assault with the name Joe Ruiz? He was concerned as
Are you asking me if you sent me a person's name, named Joe Ruiz, the same person as my boyfriend's name that had 9 felony charges? Is that what you're asking me?
I'm asking you, did the defendant not send, or did Mr. McDonald not send you, did he send you those 9 felony charges of lewdness of minor and sexual assault with the name Joe Ruiz? And then you said...
Yes. And I said that my fiance does not have a middle name, and that's not the same guy. I told you that in that conversation on Talking Parents, that was not the same person. And then after that, you still proceeded to call CPS and tell them that Joe was the same Joe from the 9 felony counts. They then investigated. They then closed the case because they sat down with Joe, did an interview with him. Obviously, they did not have the same Social Security name. Joe does not have a middle name. This person, Joseph Drew Ruiz, does have a middle name. They're not the same person. So yes, I told you that. And then even after that, you took Malia to Sunrise Hospital and told them that she had been sexually molested. They did a full evaluation on her. And after that time, they still told you that there had been no sexual assault and that it was allergy related. I also told you that I met with the pediatrician who told us that it was a food allergy. I had her allergy tested I then took her to a surgeon. The surgeon determined that there was no reason to do surgery, that these things naturally heal, and that the prognosis was basically we had to keep her stool soft so that she would not continue to like be constipated. I told you all of this in Talking Parents. I kept you updated every single time. And still, to this day, you still post videos on YouTube saying that my fiance is a molester.
Let me ask you, do you believe that rectal prolapses could be caused by sexual molestation?
Initially, I just listened to what the doctor said, and they said that it was caused by constipation. My mind did not go to sexual molestation. In fact, I was disgusted and shocked when you suggested that maybe my brother may have molested her, and then when I told you my brothers hadn't been alone with her, I wasn't even dating Joe until a month after she had her first prolapse. And when Joe came into the picture, that's when you started accusing him of sexual molestation, which is disgusting, because honestly, if a doctor is saying it's her diet, it could be dairy, it could be gluten, the first thing that I'm going to do as a parent is cut those things out. There was never even any opportunity. She's never been alone with a male. So no, my mind did not go that. Is it possible? Sure, it's possible, but not in this case, because she's never been alone with anybody that would ever harm her in that way.
Did Dr. York or Dr. Robinson not say that it is probable that rectal prolapses?
Dr. Robertson and Dr. York, what they said to me was it was an allergy, and that I needed to do everything I had to do in order to follow up. So that's what I did. I cut gluten and dairy out of her diet. I took her to an allergist, and she actually has a whole bunch of other slew of allergies, which we didn't know about then, which are now out of her diet, which could have caused the constipation. And they told me she needed to be hydrated at all times. She also needs to be on she's on a daily laxative, which I give her in the morning. She has to have that every morning in her juice so that her stools stay soft. And since that time, a year and a half, she's not had one rectal prolapse since then.
Yes, were you sexually molested or assaulted?
Objection, Your Honor.
No.
They never told any stories about
The only person that sexually assaulted me was you.
Do you think it's concerning for a father or a parent when their daughter's having rectal prolapses to want to protect their children?
Absolutely.
What's going on?
Absolutely.
Did you when did you let Mr. McDonald know about where she had to have surgery? Wasn't it
Every single time I had an update from the doctor, I put it on Talking Parents. Because as a father, you deserve to know those things about your child. You really, really do. And every single time I had an update, but then at some point, Talking Parents got cut off. So I haven't updated you recently because obviously, like, we are not to have any communication. So, I mean, there wasn't a way for me to tell you. But, up until that point, until we had Talking Parents cut off, I was giving you updates all the time, making sure that you knew what was going on with her. Even though you weren't seeing her, you still need to know. You're her dad. Like,
Did Malia ever tell you she was being touched?
no.
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 I'm about to touch this father.
During that time of did you ever talk to Sharina or anybody else that was around Joe previously that said that they were uncomfortable around him, that he is a womanizer, that he has a prevalency for a sexual deviancy?
No.
Not even with Nicole?
No.
So do you think it's warranted for a father or a parent to be concerned about their children when they see something like that?
Yeah. I was concerned myself. Absolutely. But I didn't think it was sexual in nature. I listened to what the doctor said, I took in that information, and I made the proper steps to take care of that. And since she's been gluten and dairy free and on the daily laxative, she's not had one prolapse.
Okay, during that time, did you cancel a doctor appointment that Mr. McDonald made to go have his daughter checked?
Well, yes, but here's what happened with that. Like, Sunshine Valley Pediatrics called me and said, hey, I'm confirming a doctor's appointment that you made. And I'm like, oh, I didn't make a doctor's appointment. I had seen Dr. York.
Heck no, the lawyer shouldn't stop this. He's talking about things that mean absolutely nothing to anybody. And the judge is letting him waste his time on all of this. So, yeah, the lawyer is going to let this go on forever.
a couple of days previous to that. So I was thinking like maybe, I don't know. I mean, I'm like, I didn't make a doctor appointment. They were like, okay, well, do you want us to go ahead and cancel that? I'm like, sure. You had not let me know that there was a doctor appointment that you were taking her to. So I didn't know. So I did cancel that appointment, but it wasn't like, listen, like, you're her parent. If you want to take her to the doctor and get a second opinion, like, that's your right to do that. But it's also like, you needed to let me know, because otherwise then you turned around and accused me of purposely canceling your appointment when I'm like, I didn't even know. They called me, not
Mr.
you.
McDonald send you talking parents letting you know that he scheduled an appointment?
No.
It wasn't? Okay.
No.
In October of 2016, the judge ordered previously that I was to pay the daycare by check, and that I was to go to the daycare and do it, even though there was orders saying that I was not to be 100 yards within your place of employment, which Malia's daycare is there. And I'm not, there was also orders saying that.
Okay, this is,
Okay, so
ask a
did Mr. McDonald,
question.
did you report or file a TPO after Mr. McDonald went to pay the daycare and see his daughter? Say hi to his daughter.
From my understanding, you were to mail a check, and you were precluded from going to my school and Malia's daycare and the kids' school. So yes, when you showed up and tried to take another child from the daycare, thinking that it was Malia, yes, I did file a violation of the protective order, because you were not supposed to be at her school. And from what the staff said, they were fearful, and you picked up another child, which was concerning to them. You picked her up and tried to walk out with her, and they had to tell you that wasn't your child. And then, I mean, they're all fearful too. They're concerned. They knew you weren't supposed to be there. They had the paperwork, and then you showed up, and I mean, I understand.
Did not allow them to go, did they tell you that they allowed him to see his daughter and say hi?
I mean, from what they told me is that you showed up, you weren't supposed to be there, they were fearful, you tried to take another child. They felt intimidated. In fact, their entire staff purchased pepper spray after that, and they upped the security cameras
Judge.
because
You asked the question, Mr. McDonald.
you snuck in with another parent because the code had been changed. So you snuck in behind another parent to get in, which is all what they related back to me. And that was concerning to me and made me feel fearful that you would go against what had been ordered. And so, yeah, I definitely did report that to the police.
Did Mr. McDonald not have a code to the daycare door?
They had changed the code after there was an order stating that you could not be at the daycare.
Did Mr. McDonald have a good relationship with Ariana, Malia's daycare provider, and the manager there to bring them coffee?
Well, I don't know about your relationship with them. I only know, like, from what they've told me, how they felt about your presence in the daycare.
Okay, let's talk about that daycare. Around October of 2016, Mr. McDonald was ordered to pick up the kids every other weekend. And the second Friday, which was very confusing, there was one month, that was the month where there was 4 or 5 Fridays. So he came there, he said, docking parents, did he not tell you that he's picking up the kids that day? Then did you show up and say you're not taking her and go and shove Mr. McDonald while he had Malia in his arms?
Objection, Your Honor. We're not sure what day we're talking about.
You could give us a better foundation?
It was October, the Friday, it was the second Friday of October of 2000.
Okay, second Friday, October 2016.
Okay,
Hey.
so, no, I did not shove you. The situation, you did send me a talking parents message, and in that talking parents message, we were disagreeing about which was supposed to be, you had them the 2nd and the 4th, right? So, and that Friday is determined by the first Friday of the month. So, what I was telling you is like, no, because it's the following week that you're supposed to have them, not this week. And I did tell you, I said, you know, you need to make sure that you don't, I said, please reread the decree. It's defined by the first Friday of the month. And it didn't happen the week after the Friday that you went to pick them up would have been your week. And so
that
at that
confusing?
time, no, it wasn't confusing for me at all. It's clearly stated, defined by the first Friday of the month. And you had the 2nd and the 4th Fridays, like that's when you would do pickup. And so Yeah, the daycare alerted me, told me that you were there. I had already explained to you, like, it wasn't your Friday. And I called the police, and the police let me take Malia home because it was my weekend. So,
So during that time before the police got called out, did you not run up after? Well, was there not a text message letting you know that I was bringing Malia to the doctor that day?
no.
It wasn't.
No, actually, I'm sorry.
Off.
I think that you had sent that text message after you left. But I didn't know until after. And besides that, like, again, the situation occurred. You made the appointment. You didn't tell me about that appointment. And then when you went to pick her up, I didn't know why you were there. And I only found out later that the reason that you were there is because you had the appointment. But again, it wasn't your Friday. So that's why when the police were called, because what happened was the staff was very concerned. You picked up Malia. She was asleep. The staff had already told you were not supposed to be there, that they were fearful. And one of the daycare workers, you stepped in front of her and you were being aggressive. And I was scared. I was extremely scared. And
You weren't there.
one of the
during that time,
daycare
right?
workers said, you need to hand Malia to me, okay? And in fact, after that incident, the daycare told me if there were any more incidences after that, we would be asked to leave because there has been so much conflict. And they were concerned about the other children because you had gone in there and tried to pick up another child that was not your own.
That's incorrect. But when Mr. McDonald was there, did you see him run up to him and confront him, cussing at him while he had Malia in his arms?
No.
You didn't say, "You're not taking a mother effer," and all this.
No, I definitely did not say
When
that.
he had his daughter there and started shoving him.
No, it did not. That did
So
not
you don't
happen.
think Ariana would be able to attest to that?
There's nobody at the daycare named Ariana.
Alana, yeah. She was the one that was watching her that day. And then the director also witnessed the shoving. I didn't report that to the police. And that constitutes domestic violence. Were you aware of that?
It did not occur. I was upset. I was concerned. I asked you to put her down. I again reminded you, like, it's not your weekend. I told you I called the police. They're coming.
Did you
There
cuss
was
at
a high-
Mr. McDonald?
No, I did not. Not at a daycare in front of children. No.
Never put hands on him?
No, I did not. I did not.
So if there's video
My
of
main
that,
concern was keeping Malia safe and making sure that she was okay. I mean, the whole staff was in the hallway. Like, they were...
lots of witnesses, yeah. Did Yesenia, Elena, sorry, take Malia out of my arms and bring her into the room?
No.
While you were...
Leslie, Malia's teacher, took her out of your arms because she was concerned. She took her out of your arms and out of the building because she was concerned that you were going to hurt her. Or me.
And Mr. McDonald walked out of there and waited for the police to come. And the police were going to give him his weekend, as I believe it was too. And then it was a technical error.
I had the paperwork. The daycare has all the paperwork. They read the paperwork. They said I was free to go with her.
But no, why was the confrontation? Because of the medical appointment?
No, I didn't. I wasn't aware of your medical appointment. Again, like I said, if you wanted to take Malia to the doctor, that is your right as a parent. And 100%, like, sometimes you need a second opinion. Like, I didn't know what to do either. And so if you wanted to take her, that was fine. You just didn't tell me, and you showed up on a day that was not yours, and you took another child, which was concerning to everyone else, which is why everyone was on high alert, because you grabbed another kid that wasn't yours. And, like, I mean, seriously.
Do you freak out over medical issues?
No, I don't.
So you don't recall a time when Mason was choking and you froze and didn't know what to do, and Mr. Donald patted him and dislodged the
No,
food
I
items?
don't. I don't recall that.
You don't recall bringing the kids to the doctor for every little sniffle and things, and they get sick a lot because you shake every kid's hand and the kids on daycare.
I bring the kids to the doctor when I feel like they need to go to the doctor. If they
Kids
have a
have foot
high
and-
fever, or I feel like medical attention is important and appropriate when kids are sick and need. I don't feel like I took them for every little sniffle, but I do feel like when they needed medical attention, I would take them.
So let's talk about the incident
Deodorant. Talk about deodorant, how it's so harmful. Please.
that was previous to the court order on 11/11 of 2016.
Okay.
So during that time, there was orders saying that on days the kids do not have school, such as Veterans Day at 11/11, that we are to exchange the kids within at the kids' school. Now, the orders were confusing to both of us as we don't know how to march a 2-year-old 100 yards. Is that correct? Do you recall that?
The orders were not confusing to me. I'm sorry.
Do you remember those orders on the divorce decree?
I do.
That on days that kids don't have school, that we were to exchange them.
Yes, at the school.
Were you aware that there was a TPO in place that was granted extended for a year that said we weren't allowed to be 100 yards from each other?
I'm sorry.
Was there a TPO in place?
During that time, when the decree of divorce was entered, I believe that there was.
So did the defendant not send you talking parents saying, please follow the order and bring them to the school to do the exchange?
No.
There was no talking parents to that.
No, there was talking parents messages, but that's not what you said.
It said to do the exchange
You told
at the
me
school.
that you had a protest on Veterans Day and could not make it to the 9 a.m. appointment, which I never planned to be at in the first place because of the TPO. So my parents were originally going to do that
It was
exchange.
a parade, but okay.
Okay, well, whatever you were doing, it was at 9 a.m., which is the exchange time. So we went back and
Work.
forth, and I said, okay, well, what time works for you? And you said 4 p.m. I said, great. Well, since it's at 4 p.m., I would feel more comfortable if my parents did the exchange because there was a TPO. And again, like I said, I wasn't going to, be alone anyways, or within the 100 yards. So you said that it was fine because the kids were...
Said it was fine. Was there not messages saying if we don't, to please follow the court order, and if not, to do the exchange at my grandparents' house?
No.
Were your
No.
parents ever hostile to Mr. McDonald?
No.
Arrested him during
No.
exchanges?
No, my parents were more than patient and kind, and they did all of the custody exchanges for us, which they did not have to do. They gave up weekends all the time just to do that, so there was no conflict between you and I. So what happened in that talking parents message was you said, all right, I'll agree to meet across the street at the church, which is far enough away from my parents' house, and the kids were used to being exchanged by my parents anyway, at 4 p.m. At 3:50, I got a message from you saying, no, I'm not going there, bring them to my grandparents' house. And I said, look, they're already at my mom's house. They're already there. Like, just bring them to my parents' house. They'll
So-
walk them across the street like we normally do.
So across the street is within eyesight, within 100 feet across. You can see the parents' house. Now, on that checking parents, did you put a text message saying you pick up the kids at my parents' house? I am not there. If you don't come within 30 minutes, you're going to lose your weekend. Did you say-
I did not say those exact things, but I did say I'm not there because we had left, right? You said you weren't coming, so I came back. So I came back to my parents' house and waited because we're all like, we don't know what to do. And I did say, if you're not here within 30 minutes, then we're going home. Like, how long am I supposed to wait for you?
But was Mr. McDonald not there at 4:05?
You were not there at 4:05. I got a message at 4:22 that said, please bring Mason out.
That was after the incident that happened.
No, that was not after the incident happened. You were late.
So let's back up then. What happened? What during that day of 11/11? What is your version of what happened?
Of what happened that day?
Yeah.
Okay, so on 11/11 that morning, you sent me a text message or a message saying that you had this parade or activity that you had to do. You could not meet at the 9 a.m. time, like court was ordered. So you and I agreed to figure out a better time. And I said, since it's going to be later, can we just do it back at the church? My parents will exchange the kids. You said that was fine. I got a message at 3:50 saying you did not want to go there, that you did not feel like that was a good place to exchange them. And then you told me, just bring him to my grandparents' house. At that time, I had already left. And so I turned right back around and I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to go back and get the kids because you said you were not going to go there. So I wasn't even sure if you were going to come back, or I wasn't really sure what was going to happen. So at that time, we were still waiting. We were just outside. Like, my parents were getting ready for a yard sale. They were pulling stuff out of the garage. Joe and I were helping them. The kids were in the garage with us, and I got a message at 4:22 saying to bring Mason outside. Well, at that point, we still didn't see you, so we were just like, my mom was like, I don't know, I don't see him yet. Well, all of a sudden, we see you swing around the corner.
She needs to say Joe and I a whole lot more in every answer. Joe and I think.
In the church parking lot, you aggressively get out of the car, run across the street, start screaming at Joe, calling him a molester, telling him that you were going to fucking kill him in front of our children. At that time, I then told Joe to get in the house, call the police. The reason that you violated the protective order was because you were not supposed to be on the grounds at my parents' house. That violated the protective order. At that point, I mean, do you want me to continue? Like,
Let me ask you, let's ask specific questions then to that occurrence. So did you send a text talking parents saying that I'm not there? Come pick up the kids.
Yes.
You said you weren't there.
Because I was not there.
So when Mr. McDonald was there, was where were you during the first when Mr. McDonald pulled up?
She was sleeping
I
with a
was
whole
back
bunch
at the
of men.
house because you said that
drinking,
you weren't coming. So I
smoking.
came
What
back to
time
the
was that?
house.
4:05?
I don't know exactly what time it was, but I
Were
had
you in the
come
garage
back
or were you
to
in the
the
house?
I was outside of the house. I was not in the garage at that point. I was outside the house, like helping pull stuff out of the garage for the yard sale.
So when Mr. McDonald pulled up, Joe was standing on the sidewalk.
With me, yes. No, he was with me.
Eyesight.
He was with me standing up.
What did all of us do when the kids were gone? When the kids leave, what do all of us do? We nap. She was going home to take a nap.
Like the walkway going up towards my parents' door. We were talking about what are we going to do? Because Joe and I had plans to go on a date after that. So I'm like, well, I guess, obviously, like, do we want to take the kids to the movies with us? Or we were having that conversation at that point when you came running across the street saying you were going to kill him in front of the kids.
Objection to that, but you were not within eyesight. The kids, where were the kids during this? Were they in the garage?
They were in the garage with my parents.
So Mr. McDonald was looking for his children, and did your mom not hand Malia and the backpack?
No, that didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
Here's what happened. When you came running across the street, right? My parents saw you. They grabbed the
ran
kids.
inside, correct?
I did ask Joe, yes, to go inside and
You weren't
call
there.
the police. So, you were halfway across the street. My parents saw you, grabbed the backpacks and the kids, and they were like, Mike, get across the street, just go. Because we knew you were upset. You were yelling and screaming. He's like, look, my stepdad said, not in front of the kids. Go across the street. And he was trying to diffuse,
Kids were within eyesight from that
right?
angle, right?
I'm sorry?
Were the kids within eyesight of that angle? Mr. McDonald going across?
I don't know what eyesight angle you saw. I have no idea.
So Joe goes inside. Did your mother, Shallant Dixon, hand Malia and a backpack to Mr. McDonald?
No, that did not happen.
In the driveway?
No, that did not
Not
happen.
correct.
No, it's not correct.
So Malia wasn't in Mr. McDonald's arms?
She did end up in your arms after you ripped her from my mother, and she was screaming and crying because you were screaming. That did happen. In fact, like, she's still traumatized and says that daddy takes me, daddy don't take me. Like, she still cries about
She's
that. You don't know. You're not there. You don't hear her when she has nightmares and she's screaming, no, daddy, don't take me. That was traumatizing to her. And had you gone across the street, across the street and done what you had to do, that would have never happened. If you would have just followed the law, the rule, whatever, and just met them across the street. But instead, you had to charge against Joe, scream at him, scare the kids. Mason was running away. He ran back into the garage, which is how we all ended up back in the garage. Mason was literally digging his nails into my mom's leg because he was terrified at what you were doing.
Did you ever call the cops, hold the kids there and call the cops on Mr. McDonald?
I was not holding the children there.
No,
Mason was terrified. He did not want to go with you. I'm not going to force him to go with you.
Event, did you ever call the police, have Mr. McDonald served a TPO, and have the kids wave at him through the window, saying, hi, Daddy?
No, that did not happen.
Didn't happen?
No, that did not happen.
There's an
You
exhibit
were
of
banging
that.
on the door at my mom's house. You were screaming. You were yelling. There was a TPO. I called the police. I was scared. I didn't know what to do.
was screaming.
The police came out. And what did they do? Everything was totally fine. The kids were upstairs. They were away. They didn't know what was happening.
He's taking
the
a
police
nap.
came out and had a conversation with you about that TPO. And then the police did the exchange. They took the kids
You don't think
and
that's
they walked them
traumatizing
across
on
the
children
street.
to have
I'm
the
sure
cops-
that was traumatizing, but it was also probably traumatizing that you were banging on the door saying, let me in. Like, that was
Not answer-
probably
did-
traumatizing
did Mr.
too.
McDonald try calling you and
I'm sorry?
sending text messages, talking parents to you to...
Listen, you were not supposed to be there. There was a TPO. There was no reason why you should have been there. You should have been across the street, which is what we had planned. Like, I don't know if you ever realized this, if you had just followed what you were supposed to do, like, none of this would have happened. Seriously, like, the kids need you, but they need you to be healthy and they need you to make good decisions. And that was not a good decision that day, to bang on the door and to scream and to scare me and to scare the kids, which is why I called the police. What was the safest option after that? For the police officer to walk the kids across the street. You and I don't see each other. You and I go our separate ways. The police do the exchange. The way that I explained it to the kids was like, hey, there's this, police officer here. He's really nice, and he's come to visit. Like, what do I say to the kids?
I don't think it's traumatized to see their dad in front of them.
They didn't see you. I would never let them see you over the top of a cop car because that would be traumatizing to them. I made sure that they were away and upstairs, and they were with I think my sister was there. They were with my sister, and she was playing games with them.
Did you ever send a talking parents saying, be prepared for your fight of your life if you don't agree to primary custody?
I have no idea. I don't know what I said. I don't.
Did you not say you're not going to see your kids for Christmas?
I don't believe I said that.
And yell in the courtyard after it was warded every weekend with the kids.
No, I did not say that.
And we both agreed to share that day.
Right, which is what we were supposed to do.
You didn't yell
But
in front of
because, like,
counsel here?
No. Listen, I wish you could just understand that, like you have it in your mind that I want to go after you and end your life and take everything from you. That is not the case. Like, the kids need you, but they need you to be healthy. And I've said to this court, we've been here so many times, like, if you just got the help that you needed and you were stable and sane, our lives would be completely different. Don't you see that?
So
like, if you just did what you had to do.
During those 5 years of marriage, or 6 years of marriage, and during, you don't think Mr. McDonald, did he not go to different various events and worked on self-improvement?
Yeah, but you also didn't follow anything that our counselor said when you needed to be medicated, when you needed to see a psychologist, when you needed to make sure that you were, like, stable and
sleeping. Did not say the same
and...
thing to you, to that you're
Listen,
at PMDD.
I was under so much stress from all the abuse.
Postpartum.
It had nothing to do with my
Did you have
birth.
postpartum depression?
No, I did not have postpartum
Did you say
depression.
you're going to kill yourself?
No, I never said that.
Did you beat up Mr. McDonald?
No,
punching
I never beat up Mr. McDonald.
Holes in the walls?
No, that never happened.
Throwing things in front of the kids?
No, that never happened.
You don't have PMDD?
I don't even know what PMDD is.
Yes, you did not tell Mr. McDonald that? You had that?
No, I don't even know what PMDD is.
You have a thyroid hormonal condition.
I have no other conditions. I have no conditions.
Okay. Now, during that time, Mr. McDonald had a daughter in the backpack. You said that he pushed you. How did that occur when he had a daughter in his arm and a backpack in another arm? And then he asked Mason to come with him.
That's okay, so that's your perspective. My perspective is you were holding Malia and the backpack in the same hand, and you were screaming at Mason to come with you. Yeah, you literally said in front of our child, I will go to jail if you don't come with me right now, okay? You reached over, Mason was cowering behind my mom and me.
Block you?
No, my mom did not block you. She was encouraging him and saying, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And she was telling you, Mike, please go back across the street. We were trying to diffuse the situation so that we could bring him back over there
Mr.
to you.
McDonald not take his daughter and leave when Dan requested?
You did, yeah, you took her and left, and CPS returned her to me that night because you left her at your brother's house after you again said that she had been molested, and an ambulance came to check her out, then called me on the phone, okay? Then they found out that you had abandoned your child at your brother's house because you were avoiding the police because you had pushed me, okay? And then CPS returned Malia to me at midnight that same night because you were nowhere to be found.
So was there a bench warrant issued for Mr. McDonald?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure there was a bench warrant.
Did you call the police and file a report when Mr. McDonald tried to see the children at church? Away from the church, it was separate.
I'm sorry. Can you ask me that again?
Did you go to Metro and file a police report saying after the 90 days Mr. McDonald did not see his children, he saw his children at a separate location from the church, and said that Daddy loves you, I didn't abandon you after 16.
Okay, so yes, I did file a police report because you
Can you tell me, when is the approximate date of this instance?
This occurred September. September of probably the second Sunday of September.
The second Sunday of September.
Oh no, it was around August. I apologize. It was the second Sunday of August, I believe. Was that time?
Is that correct, ma'am?
I don't know the exact.
2016.
Approximately.
I know that there was a TPO in place during that time.
So August 2016.
Yeah, I would say
Okay.
it was August.
Okay, tell me what happened.
So at that time, I had the TPO that precluded Mr. McDonald from going to Canyon Ridge Church. I had given that to the security team and told them, you know, he's not supposed to be here if he comes, you know, just so you know, he's not supposed to be here. Michael went to the church. He went behind the desk for where they check the kids in, went through a back door and into the auditorium where all the kids were, they were there doing like worship music. Michael scooped up Mason. The security team knew right away because he had gone past a volunteer who told him to stop. And the security team moved in very quickly. One of the volunteers ushered Michael into a private room, and she was very calm, and she said, hey, listen, I'll give you 2 seconds, you can say hi to him, and then he needs to come back in. So Michael had his moment with Mason. He said goodbye or said he loved him, and, you know, obviously was there or whatever. And then as Mason was being brought back into the room, Michael went through the back, tried to go through the back door to get Malia, and at that point the security team was in place. They told him, you are not allowed to come into this room. We have something saying that you are not supposed to be here. He then said, what are you going to call the police on me? They said, yes, we will be contacting the police. And then Michael ran off campus. So at that point, I did call the police. We then did have court over that because he was at Canyon Ridge. And, you know, obviously, like, we had a witness and stuff. He pled no contest to that.
Was Mr. McDonald when I heard did the ministers that Mr. McDonald would work with at Canyon Ridge on daily did they not know him and know it wasn't
I don't know what your relationships
Mark
are.
Sargent and all this?
I don't know what your relationships are with the people.
So when Mr.
I just know that you weren't supposed to be there, and then you were there, and then you were picking them up and trying to.
Did you see Mr. McDonald? Did he try to contact you?
I did not see him personally, no.
He stayed far away from you.
Right, but you weren't supposed to be at the church.
So when did he ask? So he did ask to see his daughter and was asked to leave.
Yes.
Which he did. But did you file a police report after that?
Yes.
Did Mr. McDonald was a bench warrant issued?
I don't know if there was.
By card in the mail.
I have no idea. I don't know. All I know is I made the report and was notified that we would have court.
Did
That's all
Mr.
I know.
McDonald go and try to quash the warrant, and he had a business trip to Canada,
I don't know.
and it was thrown in jail for 3 days without bail.
I don't know about that.
I don't know.
I just know that we had court.
Almost was fired from his job,
I don't know about that.
and then there was after that incident there was trial on January 11th
What is his job? Does anybody know what his job is?
of 2017. What evidence did you produce during that? Did you show a phone recording and bring up that issue?
I did, because at that hearing, right after the church incident, you were ordered to have no contact with me whatsoever, phone, text, social media, none of that. And I was told by the police that if you made any phone calls, that I was to record it. And I had to say at the beginning of that phone conversation, this call is being recorded.
On one of the exhibit lists here, does it not say in the divorce decree that Mr. McDonald is to have reasonable phone conversations with his children?
I
And
don't know about what the decree of divorce says or what exhibit you're talking about.
Exhibits, let me see here.
I don't even have any exhibits over here.
Here, we can give you the exhibits so if you like. But was there not order and then saying that he will not, let's read it exactly.
Mr. McDonald, you have 2 hours remaining.
Okay, I'll hurry, Judge.
Take your time. I just want you to know where you stand with the time allotted.
I appreciate that, Judge. So when you asked, when you went to trial on because was the orders confusing on the divorce decree and the TPO?
No.
They weren't.
No.
So
What I was told was that the municipal court order took precedence over what the decree of divorce said, and that any contact period would be seen as a violation.
So do you know that Judge Marquis entered on that trial in October, ordered that you'll follow orders until further orders of this court. Were there not further orders put on the divorce decree? Does that not constitute further orders?
I'm not following your question, I'm sorry.
Is your question that after I made an order in August 2016?
No, the trial was pushed off until October. Then we had an October.
So there was no trial in October of 2016.
Oh, it was June. I apologize,
No,
Judge. It
again,
was August.
for about the fifth time today.
Yeah.
August. Let me
August
give you
of
the, hold on.
2016.
August 16th, 2016. My written decision was issued August 31st, 2016.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that, Judge. So, how do you propose that we do phone conversations with the children? How were we doing it previously? Was there not Skype, Tango that the children would call?
Are you asking me how I think they should go now, or how they were going in the past?
How we were going in the past, and how would you propose that phone conversations or video chats be in the future?
In the past, when there were no orders about no contact, you were free to call the kids, and I think I had the Tango app, and you did Tango with them a few times. What I propose now, I'm going to follow whatever the courts say is appropriate. If they say that you are able to have phone conversation, I will let, that's free to happen.
During that time, did you not say that you wanted to get back together, that you wanted the kids to?
During what time?
Right before trial, did you not send text messages and phone conversations saying that that you wanted me back? Did you not tell the defendant to come over your house and spend the night with you?
No, that never happened.
Okay. So there's not a gate code that was given?
The gate code that was given was during the time that there were no orders. Malia was sick, you were returning the kids, so I did give you the gate code to my condo, yes. That did happen. But it wasn't to get back together. It was because you were dropping the kids off and they were sick.
So you never said that? No.
I never said what?
You never had me come over to your house?
No.
Never?
No. Except for that one time when you dropped her off.
Did you invite me upstairs and show the kids rooms? And, yeah? You don't remember that? No, perjury is a thing, right? That lies to the court. That you can actually.
I feel like you're harassing me right now.
I'm not harassing you. I'm asking specific questions that.
And I'm telling you my answers, so.
Thank you. So, how do you propose that we did we not have did Mr. McDonald call his kids on a regular basis? Call them at night, wishing them good night.
When there were no orders in place that you could have contact with them, yes, you were having regular contact.
And we were being pretty good co-parents. Do you agree?
I disagree, but
Why is that?
because of your level of harassing me and harassing my friends and family, it was really difficult to co-parent when you were involving our children in very adult matters and telling them things that little kids should never hear. I don't think you were being a good or sane or healthy parent to them at all. Did I do everything that the court said? Yes. Did I try to work with you? Yes. Because I still believe that our kids need two healthy parents. They love you, they miss you, their opinion of you has not changed. I would never hurt their opinion of you because you're their dad. But because of your inability to be healthy for them, I've been forced to continue to fight for their safety. And so I don't think we were being good co-parents. So at least I don't think you were being a good co-parent.
You know what parental alienation is, or pathogenic parent?
I don't.
There's exhibits in here that show the effects. Are you aware of the CAP study?
I have no idea what the CAP study is.
So, there's psychological issues that occur for traumatic experience and also alienation of children or poisoning of children, saying bad things. As a child is a whole of two parts of a mother and a father. When you don't have a mother and father in your life, it causes deep psychological issues, social issues.
Objection, Your Honor. Is there a question pending?
Ask a question, Mr.
Do
McDonald.
you think that the kids not being able to see their dad for over a year and being alienated, or not being able to see their father is going to cause criminal history, anxiety, depression,
Objection, Your Honor. Ms. McDonald isn't
mass shootings?
in this regard.
Are you asking whether or not you think your children are going to commit mass shootings
No,
because they
Judge,
have?
I'm-
No,
what
that's
I'm-
exactly what you just said. So you may ask. You can answer that question, ma'am.
No, I do not think that they will commit mass shootings.
That wasn't the question, Judge. What I'm asking is the plaintiff aware of the massive issues and social repercussions of not having a mother, father, or alienating or keeping a loving parent from a child? That's what I'm asking.
In answer to your alienation, I have not alienated you. You have done this yourself. So, do I think that our children are going to have difficulty growing up because of this? Absolutely.
Do you think it's best that their father spend time in jail?
No, that was not what was best for them, but that was your choice.
Do you think it's best to throw away their toys and their furniture, to clear out the house, to get rid of the house that they lived in that was all set up for them?
I did what the court said I could do.
Now, did you do that when you broke in the house right after
I
trial?
never broke
Objection,
into
Your
the
Honor.
house.
So was the house not? You didn't break in the house and steal a bunch of stuff, or that's currently in your attorney's possession?
I did not break into the house.
How was my stepfather went there and said that the door.
Objection, Your Honor. We're getting beyond the scope
let
of
me-
what this hearing is for.
I'll allow it. Mr. McDonald wants to use his time again for now. I'm keeping track. This is the 7th admonishment
Yeah, I
about
apologize,
property and other issues. Then I'll let him use his time that
Do you
way.
think-
But I'm not making a decision today about property. I am making a decision about his request to modify custody.
Do you think it's best that the children have a good environment that they're used to, and that going overnights with their parents?
Yes, I think that's very important.
Do you recall, if you look at Exhibit 27, there's orders saying that we can have reasonable conversation. Could I provide a copy to her? Can we?
Well, first ask her if she remembers.
Do you remember that?
I'm sorry, can you ask me again?
Do you remember on the divorce decree it said that the defendant, or that Mr. McDonald could have reasonable phone conversations with his children?
Yes, I do remember that.
Did you allow reasonable phone conversations with his children after trial?
After trial, there was still a TPO in place, so no, I did not allow any phone conversations. And then after that, there were new orders entered by municipal court, which still stated that you couldn't have contact with me. Therefore, if you called me, texted me, anything, it would be considered a violation. So no, I was not allowing
How
you.
did you propose that we were to follow that? Did you not? Did you call from the number?
No, I did not call from him. No.
You didn't ask for money. So
I did ask for money when there was when we were able to have contact, because you were not paying the daycare bills, nor were you paying child support. You did not pay child support for a year and a half, and your wages had to be garnished. And I was paying $1,200 a month in daycare costs, as well as all of their medical expenses, which was $440 a month. So when we did have phone conversation, I did ask you to make a payment to the daycare. I wasn't even asking for child support at that point. I was just asking you to
call the
pay
judge.
half of the daycare.
All the judge saying that Mr. McDonald was to pay in lieu of child support, the car bill, the insurance, the mortgage, all of the things, almost over almost $1,300 a month.
I do remember that, but after that, it was ordered that you needed to pay child support and half of the daycare, which you were not doing, which is why you got garnished with the child support court.
And did Mr. McDonald not pay half the daycare?
You did not. You still haven't paid half of daycare.
There's records of that, but okay. So, if you can pull Exhibit AC on page 77, can we turn to that? I'd like to show the court. Or here, I'll read from it then, just for no. So it says, the parents shall provide each other with travel itinerary and whenever reasonably possible, telephone numbers at which the children can be reached whenever they will be away from the parents' home for 2 nights or more. Did you not go to California on multiple trips and not let Mr. McDonald know where his children were at?
At that time, we were not even allowed to communicate on Talking Parents. and I had sole legal custody at that time. I never ever took the kids to California without having
You had
sole legal
primary
and
custody.
physical custody.
You had
No,
primary custody.
no. During
Temporary.
that time, I had sole legal custody because you were ordered to stay completely away from the children. I would never take them out of state without letting you know unless I had the legal right to do that. And I
So-
never violated that.
There was temporary primary.
No, I had sole legal custody.
You don't think you think it's a good
And
idea?
I had no way to communicate with you. The courts had ordered
During that time,
no communication. How am I supposed to tell you? I'm not going to violate the orders.
it did say that we could have talking parents. Did you not bring the kids to Disneyland during that 90 days that Mr. McDonald did not see his
I had sole legal custody during
temporary
that time.
primary? The judge suspended my visitation, every weekend visitation. Is that correct?
No, it's not correct.
At trial in June of 2016. Mr. McDonald, did not Mr. McDonald not
There
have?
was not a trial in June of 2000.
I mean, before trial. I apologize. When visitation was suspended in June of 2016.
Was visitation suspended June
Yes,
2016?
Judge. Mr. McDonald, I had the children every weekend for a year.
It was not every weekend for a year.
It was
You
three
had them
overnights
for 2
from
months.
picking up at Friday and dropping off at the school on Monday.
No, you had that for 2 months before you went to the jail. Before you went to jail.
That was
You had them the second and the fourth Fridays of the month, and that lasted 2 months before you were arrested for domestic violence.
Judge. We had orders that said that I could have the children pick them up on Friday.
The records speak for itself. The orders I made, I know exactly when they were made. I know exactly what was written.
So in June of 2016, you suspended my every weekend visitation, picking up the children from Friday.
Ask her a question. What you said was that there was a trial in June of 2016.
At the trial of June,
Was there a trial in June of 2016?
there was supposed to be a trial, and it was continued as Mr. McDonald's counsel had committed suicide. So did Mr. McDonald, was his visitation, his every weekend visitation suspended because of lies of tracking a tracking device and the story of letting Mason saying that he's tracking mommy, which was complete hearsay.
Visitation was completely suspended, yes. Was it a lie that you were tracking me? No. You were tracking me with a device, and Mason did tell me that that's true.
So you knew Mr. McDonald worked at a tracking device company for the last 3 years during the pendency of our marriage, correct?
From what I understood, you worked with iPads, and there were fleets of like UPS trucks that used tracking devices.
Did you come?
But I never knew that you could even use a tracking device on a personal car,
So did you remember when?
like the kind that you had. Anyway.
Do you remember that Mr. McDonald used to work at Strategic Telecom Solutions and would be testing all these devices and bringing them home and putting them on the vehicles? And he told you after our neighbor's vehicle was stolen, he said, "Hey, we should put one of these on our vehicle."
I'm sorry, I'm not like.
Do you remember that conversation that Mr. McDonald had with you about the tracking devices being on our personal vehicles?
No.
Do you remember our neighbor's brand new Cadillac getting stolen?
No.
I worked at LV.net. You don't remember that? You don't recall? Do you remember Mr. McDonald showing you tracking devices?
No.
He worked on bring home and work in his office.
Nope. The first time I ever saw a tracking device was in my car, and I didn't even know what I was looking at. I had to take it to a mechanic so he could tell me that was a tracking device.
Do you remember
And
coming?
it was so
I thought he
carefully
said
tucked
tracking
up under
company,
that like
too.
you couldn't even really. I wouldn't even have known what I was looking at.
Do you know that Mr. McDonald was? You recall coming to the company parties and stuff that was at the location with tracking devices in the building. Can people
I mean, I remember going to the company parties, but like we did karaoke and had food. I didn't ever see like the business side of things.
Did Mr. McDonald ever tell you about the tracking device and say that
Yes, you told me that there were tracking devices that you used for UPS trucks so that you could track to make sure that,
Ed,
like, basically that they
so
were
true.
used for companies to make sure that these people were going where they were supposed to be going and making the stops that they were supposed to make. I never saw a tracking device. I never knew that you ever put a tracking device on the car. I still don't know how that tracking device got on there, whether that was like, I still have no idea. You had a key to the car, so it's possible that you put it on at any point.
our vehicle yet? And do you remember showing the company policy that saying that?
No, you never showed me any company policy at all.
Eat your own dog food policy. You don't recall that.
No, and from seeing the document since then, it also said that you weren't supposed to be like committing crimes with it either, and that you weren't supposed to be like using it for personal use. So like if you were using that to track me, like that also went against company policy. So like I never knew that you were tracking me. Why would I ever be comfortable with you tracking me, especially since we got divorced? Like, why would you want to know where I'm at? Like,
So,
know what I'm doing?
For the past 3 years, do you think you could have forgotten that it was on the vehicle?
No, I would definitely know. And in fact, I had smog checks on that car, and that's exactly where the little piece went in. I would have known. They would have said there's something plugged into your...
You don't think they could just unplug it and do the test and plug it back in?
I mean, I suppose it's possible, but I mean, knowing that I had to pay for registration and get smog checks, I know it wasn't there. They would have said like, what is this, or can I unplug this? I mean, that's what I'm assuming.
Were you there during the
Yeah, I was there.
lobby and let them...
No, I like, you drive up to the little green station at Terrible Herbs and you stand right there and they do the smog check. And so when I found the tracking device, I had to take it to a mechanic who definitely said, this looks like a tracking device. So I called 311 and they advised me what to do, which was to take pictures and to report it to the police, which is what I did.
Were you
And
afraid that Mr. McDonald was
yeah,
supposed to
you
be
were showing up to my gym, all kinds of places that I was at, and I'd always be like,
Gyms that we'd go to
what the
together?
heck? Like, why does he know that I'm here? Well, now I know because you were tracking me.
You don't think Mr. McDonald's really busy with his time and has other...
No, I think you spend a lot of your time harassing me and checking on me and stalking me and texting my friends and harassing my family. I pretty much think that like your whole life is focused on what you think I'm doing with my life.
Has Mr. McDonald done anything over the past year?
You in fact have uploaded every single video from our court hearings. There's one video that has 75,000 views. Okay, there are hundreds of comments on there. There's private information on there about our children, about our lives, about the horrible things that we've had to go through, and then you're gonna post that on a social media site so other people can watch our drama. That's disgusting and concerning to me. You've made personal videos to the kids where you have told them and addressed them, my attorney shot himself. You think that's appropriate to say to a 6-year-old?
Did Mr. McDonald ever say that to his children?
Yeah. Well, did you say it to him? No, you said it to the whole outside world. And if we're being frank, everybody on there also thinks that you have a mental illness problem. Like, seriously, what is wrong with you? Like, you don't do that. These are kids, Michael. These are our children. It is
Dr.
our
Phil's
job.
producer reach out to
Listen,
you?
it is our job to protect the privacy of our children. You have said their names. You have posted pictures of them. You have put my cell phone number out on the internet. You have put recorded phone calls
untrue,
between you and
okay.
It is. I can go Google it right now. YouTube Michael McDonald. It's right there. Very easy. I have strangers messaging me on Facebook telling me that you have done this. It's humiliating. Michael, like, please, I'm begging you to stop. If you could just focus on being a healthy person for the kids, all of this would stop.
After a year, do you not think it's emotionally traumatic?
It's traumatic for everyone. It's traumatic for me. It's probably traumatic for the bailiffs here. I'm sure that they feel traumatized by our situation. It's not funny to me.
No, it's not funny.
This is like 3 years
it's
of
not
stuff.
funny to not be able to see
No.
it.
And the only reason that you are separated from your kids is because of yourself. It has nothing to do with me. I want you to be in their lives, but you have to be healthy. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Mr. McDonald not healthy. He has not done
No,
the
you are not healthy.
church
No,
programs
you can
or-
go to all the counseling in the world that you want, but when you get on YouTube last month and address the kids and say disgusting and disturbing things to them, you're not healthy.
Those are not videos of just showing bicycle training and
Sure, and in one of those videos, you flip the camera around with Mason and Malia, and you say, "Hey guys, it's been 14 days since I'm gonna see you next time. Mommy won't let me see you." And then what did Mason say? Mommy's a jerk. You coached him to say
I
that.
did not do
Yes, you did.
objection to that.
Yes, you
You did
did.
not sing a song that we love our daddy.
Yeah,
That was so
they
cute,
do,
wasn't
yeah,
it?
It
was
a
very
4-year-old will pretty much say anything when you coach them to say that. Like, I just don't think you understand. Like, you don't understand. You really don't understand.
I understand that.
If you really want the kids back, if you really want to be healthy, like, This court will give you the opportunity to do that.
What do you propose that is, Candace? What steps, what do you think?
You need to take your domestic violence classes. You need to take your parenting classes. You need to pay your fines. You need to follow every single court order. And guess what? Maybe in a year from now, we'll be back and you will be sane and stable and medicated. And you
shouldn't see the father for another year?
Yeah.
Not at all.
No, not with the way that you're acting. Not with the things that
Anything
you're
happened
doing.
during the year?
Yes.
What's
Every single YouTube video that you've uploaded, all the stuff that you've said on Facebook, you made a post about Judge Marquise herself, okay, that was sent out to between 40 and 60,000 people through Veterans in Politics. You don't think that that's like normal behavior? It's not normal behavior.
You think it's normal behavior to be alienated from the
No.
child?
Nobody should ever be away from their children. I think it's
You should have an
awful.
unalienable, God-given right to your children.
Not if you're not
High set
healthy.
standard.
No, this is a high set
Can we
standard.
get back to the question?
All right, let me ask another question, Judge. So if you turn to page 77, let me finish that saying here. The parents shall be entitled to reasonable telephone communications with the children. They further agree to refrain from interfering with the children's right to privacy during such telephone conversations. The parents shall provide each other with the address, phone number of which the children reside, and shall notify the other parent prior to any change of address and provide the telephone number as soon as it's assigned. Do you remember that being on the order?
Yes.
So did you allow any phone conversations after that?
Not during the time that there was a protective order. When that was entered, there was a protective order, and then shortly after that, municipal court entered their orders saying that there was no contact.
So this order
So
was-
I'm going to follow that trumps this.
So this order was put in October 22nd after the TPO, which
It's
the judge ordered, Judge Marquis ordered on October, the trial of October, June of
Grapes.
2016, she ordered that we are to have no contact until further
Cheez-Its.
orders. Was this not a further order?
There was a protective order in place. You were not to contact
was
me or the kids.
Purple
Preclude
and green grapes.
after the order, correct?
I was following the protective order, which was there was to be no contact.
So that's maybe we were both confused on that.
No, I'm not confused.
So was that?
I've never been
Is that not a
confused
further
about
order?
the orders. The protective order trumps the decree of divorce. If there's an issue of violence or something that's happening, that trumps what's happening there.
Maybe you could clarify that, Judge. No, or maybe we could talk about.
I don't you want me to
There's a
clarify
TPO
what?
order that was issued prior to an order. There's a TPO that was issued on June. There was further orders that was entered on a divorce decree. Which orders come first? Orders that were further orders that were put in place, correct?
Mr. McDonald, I think you need to ask questions of the witness, not of the court.
I'm just asking for some clarification, Judge, because we both are confused.
It
No,
also
she
says-
has said numerous times she is not confused. She's explained the order. She's explained the orders of the municipal court. After that, my orders, the TPO order. She's explained it all. It's clear to me that she understands it. You can ask her more questions about
So
it.
that was your understanding. So you also texted, "I will follow the court orders," and when asking.
I don't know what I texted. I don't even know what time you're talking about. I can tell you I never made any contact with you whenever there was an order for no contact. Ever.
You never called from one of the numbers.
No.
There's phone records.
No. Get the phone records.
I have them.
Okay. Then get the phone records. Where are they?
Here, this is regards to property. So let's talk about trial on a municipal court. So 52 domestic violence classes were ordered. GPS monitoring for 6 months at a cost of $12 a day. As soon as that order was put in place, 178 days for the phone call, 6 months in jail. Do you agree with that? Do you think Mr. McDonald should be thrown in jail for 6 months for trying to call his own children?
You were not thrown in jail for calling your own children. You were in violation of contacting, which they told you to stay out
Yay,
of trouble.
Tina.
You had already violated the protective order, and then you went to jail for domestic violence. That's what you went to jail for. Do I agree with it? Absolutely. I think that you needed that. You needed to be ordered to take domestic violence classes, that you needed to take parenting classes. I still think you need to do those.
For what? Did I push you?
Yes, you pushed me in the shoulder.
What's
You
any
knocked me
evidence
back
of
off
that?
with my feet.
How did Miss McDonald do that with a daughter and backpack and gone?
I explained earlier how that whole incident happened.
If there was a
Mason
backpack,
was cowering behind me. He did not want to go with you. You reached around, you grabbed my mom's wrist, which I'm surprised you didn't get convicted for that because you grabbed her first, and she yanked her arm away from you, and you pushed me past me to try to get Mason's arm. You yanked his arm, pulled him. You told him, Daddy will go to jail if you do not come with me right now. And Mason was screaming and crying.
so that's worth
yes,
25 days in jail and
It should have
Fletcher,
been
thank you,
worse
thank
than
you,
that.
thank you.
You should never
Thank you.
touch me. You should never touch my son.
Did you ever
should never
touch?
touch
Did
my
you ever
mom.
touch Mr. McDonald?
No, I did not.
You ever
I
punched
was
him in the
asking you
nose?
to leave and to go away, and I was begging you. I'm like, please don't do this in front of the kids. Like,
So you've
that's
never during
traumatizing.
any time punched or hit or
The only time I ever put my hands back on you is when you were choking me or hitting me. They were defensive. I've learned a lot about domestic violence, how you would take my phone and my keys, how you would hold me down. And yeah, I defended myself. So yes, have I ever hit you? Absolutely.
Were you
In
ever
defense
hurt?
of
Did you
myself.
ever call the
Yeah.
cops?
I never called the cops, and I should have. You bruised the back of my arm once when you pushed me into a dresser. You choked me. You tried to rape me once. You tore my clothes off. You bit my neck. You called me a whore. You said that women should sleep with their husbands on their anniversary,
Did
and
we
that I was
ever
going to
role
do
play,
that.
Candace? Or is there
No, I was screaming bloody murder. That was not role play. I was terrified. There is so much
You were
that I
terrified. Why didn't you
understand.
call the police? Or,
I should have,
run
because
out of the
what
house?
would you say if you call the police? They're not going to believe you.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
you did. And you would threaten to take the kids all the time. I'm going to take the kids. You'll never find me. I won't use a credit card. I'll use
complete
cash.
lies, but
I'll
okay.
live off the fat of the land. You'll never find me. I was terrified. I was terrified to leave you. I was absolutely terrified to
But
leave
we
you.
stayed. We went to counseling. We were over.
We went to counseling, and our counselors told us that you needed medication.
Did you ever, when we called timeouts, did you ever break the door down and put
No.
holes in the doors?
When I called timeout, I asked you to leave me alone. And what would you do? You'd hold me down.
My office,
You'd sit
leave
on
me
me.
alone.
You'd handcuff me. You'd lock me in rooms. You would torture me.
Actually, incomplete lies, but
You would torture me. And I should have left. I should have left a long time ago. But I was terrified, and you had reduced me to absolutely nothing. I couldn't cut my hair. I couldn't put candles on. I had to turn off all the lights before you got home. Otherwise, you'd freak out about that. You financially abused me.
Did you ever tell Mr.
You took
McDonald
all
that-
of my money, so I couldn't use it. Like, pretty much in every possible way that you could abuse me. But you never punched me. You didn't do that.
did I ever hurt you? Let me rephrase
you
the
hurt
question.
me
okay?
a lot, physically.
Was
and
there ever
emotionally.
was there ever any proof of this? Was there-
Yes. This
Where?
court found proof of this. When you
hearsay.
testified to handcuffing me and shoving my face to the floor. You testified to that.
never
When we were in the
attested to
TPO court, you testified to pulling a fuse in my car and disabling my car because you thought I was going to go see a boyfriend. You testified to tracking me. You said that you accessed that tracking advice. What is there that it's not me versus you? You said that yourself. Yes, it's been proven.
There was no evidence of a lot of these
There's
things. And
the
it
evidence was your confession.
And yet we stayed and we worked together. Did you not
Yeah,
say?
I
Did you not
should
say
not
that
have
you gave
stayed.
me everything that I ever wanted, except we don't have a good marriage and we both worked on that?
I'm sorry.
Did you not become a teacher? Did you not pay
Listen.
40,000 off in your debt?
Listen, that was the biggest thing to me. All I wanted was a healthy marriage, which is why we took steps to try to do that. But when you would not receive any advice from our friends, our family, our counselors, our church, like, what else did I have left to do?
Did you ever put a Christian mingle dating site while we were married?
Not while we were married. Well, okay, we may have been married, but we were already separated.
Look at.
I had already
Did
filed
you
for
post a picture of
divorce.
our daughter on there as well?
Yeah, and I do think that was a mistake. I did put a picture of her and I in there on my profile. And when you saw the profile and mentioned to me that you saw that there was a picture of me and Malia,
Andrew
I
Ramsey
took it
sent it to
down
us.
because I'm like, you're right. If I'm going to be dating, like, I don't need to
Did
put a
Christian
picture
mingle
of her.
disable your account because you were married?
Christian Mingle disabled my account because you emailed them and said that I was a cheating wife. So yes, they disabled my account.
Were you
because
in ministry?
contacted-
Did you have an after-school program for any city?
Yeah, I was in full-time ministry at one
You
time.
remember the children that Mr. McDonald and you, we would both teach them and go there, and Mr. McDonald volunteer. And you know the fact that they didn't have, a lot of those kids didn't have their fathers. And do you remember the issues that they had?
A lot of my students did have issues. Many of their families were like convicted felons or murderers or drug dealers or dead.
Is Mr. McDonald a drug addict?
Not that I'm aware of.
On drugs?
I don't know if
Ever hurt you or the kids?
Yes,
Does
you
he ever hurt
hurt
the
me
kids?
all the time. I think you emotionally hurt our kids a lot. You told them a lot of things that they shouldn't know. They're too young to know some of the things that they do, and unfortunately, I'm still dealing with the aftermath of that. So, did you hurt our children physically? No, I don't. You didn't. I cannot think of one incident where you physically hurt them, but emotionally damaged them. Yeah, absolutely. Effects that they will carry, and I've done everything that I can do to be proactive to get them the help that they need.
The kids away from their father.
No.
Well, do you know that Mr. McDonald completed over 20 something?
I don't know how many classes you've completed.
On Exhibit A, 15 domestic violence classes. Then he went to Safe Nest and learned about domestic violence and the power and control wheel and the different things. And do you think that we were both codependent on each other?
No.
No.
I think you were codependent on me. I think that you aren't able to manage your own life.
Did
so
Mr. McDonald always try to make you happy?
Did you make me happy?
Did he try to make you happy?
No. I think you did everything that you wanted to do by yourself, and you only cared about yourself, which is why we ended up here.
Did you know that Mr. McDonald's been in counseling for not being able to see his children and for getting over?
I don't know. I mean,
Exhibit C.
my attorney showed me that there's a letter.
Did you know that Exhibit D, there's a mental eval done, and it was stated that Mr. McDonald, here I should read it here, was diagnosed with adjustment disorder due to divorce proceedings and marital relationships.
I did not know about that.
And to Dr. Harder. Exhibit D. Did you know that there's an appellate brief that on there's an appeal in place for the criminal charges?
Yes, I know that. But you still have been convicted of domestic violence, and that conviction stands until
And
the appeal.
you don't think
is
that was the
decided.
max sentence? And for a first offense?
I don't know. This has been my only experience with domestic violence, so I don't know. From
Usually-
what I understand, yes, that was the maximum sentence, but I also know that the court was very concerned about your stalking behavior, and that's why they put the GPS monitor on you.
Did you not go into court and said, I'm afraid for my life?
I'm
And
still afraid of you.
Have I done anything to make you afraid?
Yes, as of recently last month, making a YouTube video with a threat saying that you had vengeful thoughts of harming me, which I reported to the police.
That was in a piece of that. Okay. Objection. So there's that appellate brief. Let's go under, there's a couple more things that are relevant. Did you know that Mr. McDonald, went to the Crossing Church, and he's been attending regularly and got involved in
I take a nap.
divorce care there, which is a
Nap time.
parenting and a class to go through. Were you aware of that?
I don't know I don't know.
Are you aware that Director of Security came up and said, I know you're on a GPS monitor, and I know that, and harassed Mr. McDonald
I
when he
can't
was
start
told by his
drinking 'cause
counselor
I
to go
never
visit that
stop.
pastor there.
I do know that my best friend attends that church, and that you have made multiple attempts to talk to her. And
Mr.
sat
McDonald
behind
ever talked to her or seen her?
You sat directly behind her like 3 Sundays in a row, and that church has like, I don't know, 25,000 people that attend on a Sunday. So she did talk to the security people because she was concerned. She was concerned that you were there. You were waiting for her. You
Did I
waited
ever talk
till
to her or see her?
she had to be walked out to her car multiple times because she felt fearful of you. You were hovering, following her in her general direction. So I am aware of what her side of it is, that she did talk to the security there and she felt fearful, and she said that they had a conversation with you. What that conversation was, I don't know.
You know, on Exhibit G, Mr. McDonald's been going to Celebrate Recovery for life issues in regards to this, and has been following the 12-step program that's over there to recover from those things, and to overcome and ask for God to forgive and let go of these things. And to
Where are you attending Celebrate Recovery at?
the crossing.
Okay.
Did you know, let's see, there's Exhibit
In
H.
his
I don't
delusional
want to bore
mind.
the court with that, but I do want to
You're
pull
not
up.
boring me. This is what I have to do. You have an hour and a half. You spend your hour and a half the way that you'd like to spend it. You tell me what you think I need to know.
So this is on Exhibit H, Judge. I implore you to take a look at this. These are I'm involved with a couple of.
Your Honor, is there a question pending for the
Okay,
witness?
so are you aware of these findings through the CAP study and
No,
the
I don't
effects
know
of
what
parental
the
alienation.
capacity is.
Definition of parental alienation: one parent manipulates a child to reject the other parent, or a step parent or grandparent, and does the manipulation. Also frequently asks questions. Also, let's see here, pathogenic parenting. There's a doctor named Dr. Childers. Were you aware of that study, the pathogenic parenting? Where did you have a good relationship with your father?
Like growing up? I would say it was a challenging relationship.
Did you cut him out of your life and say things that, and that's what you do to people?
I don't cut people out of my life.
Have you ever said that?
I don't know. I've never said that.
Have you denied access to grandparents or even Mr. McDonald's side of it? Which, do you agree that Mason and Lee have a good relationship with their cousins that are about the same age?
I would say they don't.
Melanie and Dustin.
I
and
say
Logan.
that they don't have a relationship with them right now, which is sad for me because I know that Mason and Malia love them, but I have real concerns about the mental health of your family, and I don't believe that they would not invite you to see them when there are no contact orders in place. Your Nana has emailed me and asked me for pictures, and I've always been happy to email her back and show her pictures, and and it is.
Brought them over there to see them though, or
No, because I have concerns that you will show up. I have concerns that they themselves won't follow the orders. And is it sad? Yeah, it's heartbreaking. I
miss out on a
honestly,
whole other side.
I know, and it's terrible. I really honestly wish that wasn't the case, because I know that your family loves our children, despite my opinion of them, but I know that they love them, and I'm not going to stand in the way of that unless the court says that. And so far, because they have been unable to help you to get the help that you need, I don't feel like they're safe to be around them, and that they might actually allow you to see them. And that's from what the courts have said, like that can't take place. And so, like, really the biggest key to allowing your family to see the kids is your health.
Do you recall going over there every weekend for barbecues and swimming and my grandparents?
It wasn't every weekend, but we did
Almost.
spend time with your grandparents, and I love your grandparents. I think that they're good people, and I wish that Mason and Malia could see them, but I have concerns that they wouldn't.
They live
protect
close to
them.
you.
How do you know where I live?
I don't know.
Are you supposed to know where I live?
You used to live right there down the street, as you told me. where you lived.
Oh, okay. No. I, in fact, do live 3 miles from your grandparents' house, which not really sure why you know that if you're not stalking me.
So do you agree that there should be a good relationship between them?
Yes. Yes, I really wish that could take place, but like I said, I have concerns.
Did you ever project issues about your father and your relationship onto Mr. McDonald?
No.
Did you witness your father beating your mother in front?
No, my father never beat my mother.
There was never a call for that? No. Okay. So are you aware of the facts of let's see here, the ACE study here, that there's a link, 90% of children from fatherless homes are homeless and runaways.
No, I don't know about that study.
Did you know that 70% of children from fatherless homes are in state-operated institutions?
No.
Did you know that 85% of children from fatherless homes are youth sitting in prison?
No.
Did you know that 80% of children from fatherless homes are rapists motivated by displaced anger?
No.
Did you know that children from fatherless homes are 5 times likely to commit suicide, 32 times more likely to run away, 20 times more likely to have behavioral issues, which Mason started having self-esteem issues. Is that correct?
Are you asking me?
Did Mason not start having self-esteem issues and started saying, "Oh, I'm not this, I'm not"? He started doubting himself and having.
I received an email from his teacher when she told me that after a visitation with you, that she was concerned because Mason told her that he wanted to run away, which was concerning. And he told her that he wanted to run away because he didn't feel safe with you. And after that time, yeah, I did. I saw him really struggle, and it's been really scary.
Did Mason ever say he wanted to live with his father?
Not to me.
Did Mason ever say he loves his father?
Yeah, he still loves you. And I want you to know, please, can you just listen to me for a second? I would never say anything to Mason, despite how I personally feel about you. I would never hurt him because he thinks you are Superman. And I would never hurt him like that. And I hope one day that you get, I'm sorry to get emotional. I hope one day that you get healthy enough to be able to see him again.
What constitutes healthy, Candace? What?
Not stalking me, like leaving me alone, letting me live my life, and like.
Has Mr. McDonald left you alone for the past year? Have
No,
you
you
seen
are
him, heard
posting
him?
our personal information all over Facebook and the internet and YouTube, and it's humiliating to me. People are calling me horrible things, and they're all saying that you're mentally ill. Like, do you want our kids to one day have access to that? Do you think that that's good?
What are you going to tell our children when they get older, Candace? Father got put
I'm
in
going
jail?
to tell them what I've continued to tell them, which is your dad loves you, but right now he is not following the rules, and when he follows the rules, he can see you again. That's all I have to tell them. I'm not going to tell them the messy details of everything that's happened because it's traumatizing. It's traumatizing to me, and I'm an adult.
It's traumatizing to be thrown in jail or to be kept from.
Listen,
Father,
those were
right?
your choices. Like, they're your choices.
All right, let me continue this. 14 times more likely to commit rape, 9 times more likely to drop out of school. Is Mason doing well in school? Is he getting A's?
Mason's doing very well in school.
Do you recall the incident when Mr. McDonald went to the PTA meeting for Miss Wilson? And you happened to run across, it wasn't your time, but you walked across and you started saying, "You mother effer being, what are you doing?"
I have no idea what you're talking about. I remember Miss Wilson saying that you were videotaping her in the classroom and that you made her uncomfortable.
I took pictures of his work.
And her, and filmed her, trying to get information about her and about me.
About our
Just like you did with the daycare workers.
10 times more likely to abuse chemical substances. Have you ever abused chemical substances because of the stuff
No.
you thought? No? 9 times more likely to end up in a state institution, and 20 times more likely to end up in prison. So, 2 times more likely to smoke. Do you smoke? Do you still smoke? Do you smoke around the children?
I do not smoke.
Anything?
Nothing.
Did Mason not say that there's stinky, smelly, stinky?
I don't know what
smells
Mason said.
from when Mommy's and her friends were there. No.
I don't know what.
Did you ever tell Mason that Daddy's brain doesn't work right, and started telling him that Daddy's no good and that he's?
No. I will say about.
Never said that, or your
No.
mother.
No. And I will say about the daddy's brain doesn't work right, that was Mason's comment, not mine. He asked me why you can't follow rules. He asked me why he can't see you, and why can't you just follow the rules so that you can see him? And I said, I don't know. I still don't know. I don't know the answer to that. And all I can tell him.
Think some of those rules were contradictory after?
No, I think that they were I think Judge Marquise has been very clear. Municipal court has been very clear. Your attorneys have been very clear. And I think that you just don't want to follow the rules.
How was he supposed to go to school every other weekend and pick up the kids if he wasn't allowed on the divorce decree? The TPO that was previous.
No,
Hi, Bill.
and see, that's not even what it said.
We could read that. If
The exchanges were to take place at the school. If there was no school in session, they were to take place at the school.
Which you would not follow.
Listen, when the TPO was in place, I never planned to meet with you by myself, ever. I would never be, I don't even want to be near you because
you're afraid of me? Or
I am afraid of you, Michael. Your behavior is concerning, and not just to me, but like every freaking person in your life who's told you that your behavior is concerning. And if you could just understand that and work through that and admit some of that, like.
So you don't think that it's an emotional process to get divorced and
Absolutely.
just the love of somebody?
Absolutely.
Especially children?
Absolutely.
And you remember Mr. McDonald's conversations with you about not having his father in his life and the issues that arise because of that.
I remember those conversations, yes.
And what did we promise each other? Do you remember that?
No, I don't. We made a lot of promises.
We would never keep the children from each other. We wouldn't get.
For Bill's next stream, he should only speak of himself in third person.
Divorce.
And I never thought that you would be this unhealthy. I did make that promise, but I also never thought that you would do all the level of crazy things that you've done. And in that case, And that's the thing. It's like, it's not me keeping the kids from you. It's your choices that are keeping you away from the kids. Like, if you just made better choices, you'd probably get to see them.
Don't you think if we had orders to what would you propose in that situation?
Which situation?
What would you propose? Visitation or seeing or custody exchanges?
I will fight to keep the kids safe. And right now, I feel like you're an unsafe person still, because of the social media stuff. Because I'm getting ads on Facebook from strangers who've said, "I've seen your ex-husband's videos. Are you alive? Are you safe? Are you okay? I'm concerned about your well-being. Why is he not back in jail?" Like that interrupts my life, and it's humiliating to see that you would make videos. I mean, Michael, there's pictures on there of me being pregnant in a bra, like not appropriate. And so that makes me think that if you're gonna go to that level, it shows me that you have not made any change. It doesn't matter to me if you've taken 1,000 counseling classes or if you've been through domestic violence. You still think it's my fault. You still think that it's me keeping the kids away from you. You don't realize that this is a direct consequence of your behavior. So what do I suggest for custody? I suggest you get healthy if you want to see the kids.
When is healthy? What is defined?
I would say when you start following orders, when you go to counseling, when you go to therapy.
Has orders not been followed for the past year? Have you seen
No,
me? Have I been to any events or any
Judge Marquis said no
baseball?
contact. I would say when you're addressing the kids on YouTube and saying, "Dear Mason and Malia, I didn't get a fair shake at this trial. My attorney shot himself." I would say that's contact. And I would also say, like,
fun times with the children. Who coaches the kids' baseball team now?
the coach of the baseball team.
Oh, please say it's
Joe.
Joe. Please say it's Joe, please.
No, they don't coach his team.
Did you ever let Miss McDonald?
And how do you know that Mason's in baseball?
Watch baseball games or soccer games? I don't know, or gymnastic or dance.
I'm sorry?
Malia's gymnastic.
Malia's not in gymnastics.
I thought we were gonna put dance.
Malia's in dance. How do you know she's in dance?
So we said you're gonna put her in dance.
Yeah.
And we used to walk right past that at Little Kickers at the.
Okay, Mason's not.
We
doing
even
Little
would
Kickers.
go to events together. We would be good co-parents.
What is your question?
So, do you think we could do that again? Do you think that's
If
possible?
you can take the proper steps to get healthy and show that you are not crazy, then yeah. Listen, like, I just wish you would hear me say this, that, like, all of this is in your control. You having the kids back is all within your control. If you did what you needed to do, I guarantee the courts would.
Give that outline. What do you think it takes?
It's not my decision. Like, it's up to you to seek that out.
You don't
I'm
do
not
counseling and classes.
I'm doing what I have to do for the kids while you're out there doing whatever you're doing, trying to humiliate
You don't think
me
Mr.
on
McDonald
Facebook.
wants to take care of his children?
I'm sure you want to take care. Well, actually, no. I would say no, because honestly, if you wanted to take care of your children, you would do what you had to do. There is nothing I would
Follow
not
the orders,
do.
Paul?
Yes, I would follow. Even if I thought they were ridiculous, I would do them because I would be able to see my kids again. There is nothing that I wouldn't do. Order me to do classes. I'll go. I don't care how much it costs.
You don't think
I
Mr.
would
McDonald
sell-
hasn't attended any classes or completed
I don't know
any?
what you're doing. I don't
Exhibit
know what
A,
you're
B,
doing.
C, D, and E, F, G.
I don't know what you're doing. Are those classes what the court has told you to do?
Yes. Everything that has been ordered, Mr. McDonald has been following.
I sincerely disagree with that, because if that was making an
How
impact,
would you know? Have you had any contact with Mr.
because
McDonald?
I know because of the level of what I have been harassed with. That I have strangers
Been directly
contacting me,
harassed?
that I have people tagging me on Facebook. Hey, look at this video. Hey, your ex-husband wrote this about you. It's
Let's talk about that. So
let's talk about that.
Let's say Blair was your best friend, correct? Blair Remmenschneider.
Mm-hmm.
You guys used to be roommates, and I'd come over all the time when you were finishing college, and you used to live over there, right?
Yes.
And Blair didn't like me very much, did she?
I know she doesn't like you now. I don't know how she felt about you then.
Well, did Blair work at 94.1?
I ate them
Yes.
all.
So do you know who Mark DeSerio is?
Yes.
So did you know that Mark DeSerio has a Facebook group that's been completely harassing me and committing libel and slander and all kinds of stuff. Has been attending events and pursuing me. Has been
I don't know
posting
what.
all of our
Irrelevant,
documentation.
Your Honor.
Did you know that?
Mr. McDonald, what's the relevance?
Well, the relevancy is, does Miss McDonald, were you added to that Facebook group?
I was added to that.
Have you
group.
been-
What Facebook group?
The Nevada Court Watchers. So did you not go on there and start posting there and try and attempt to bait me to post on there and try to say that Mr. McDonald is again is trying to communicate with me?
I'm sorry, ask me again.
Did you post on those comments and those things?
I have not posted on anything.
Well,
I choose to stay
Let's
out
see. There's
of
exhibits. Let's pull up
this
the
whole thing.
exhibit M1 where you say this shit keeps getting better. There's different posts that you keep putting on there. You were added, what, 5 months later, after McDonald been stalking Mr. McDonald and following the groups and things that he's been doing. Is this not you?
I have been added. I have been tagged. I've literally like had to shut down social media because of the stuff that you're posting, not because of anything else. Because
You haven't posted
you're
anything?
posting bogus stories about and attaching our court videos and putting personal, like one of the videos has my phone number on it.
Let's continue here. So the teenage pregnancy, daughters of single parents are 53 more times likely to marry as a teenager, 164 times more likely to have a premature birth, 92 times more likely to dissolve their own marriages. Do you agree that we're both children of divorce?
I'm sorry?
Are we both children of divorce? Both our parents had divorce.
You and
You're
I,
young.
you mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you know that 63% of youth suicides are from fatherless homes?
No, I did not know that.
Did you ever try to commit suicide?
No, I never tried to commit suicide.
Did you have postpartum depression? And
I
tried
did
to
not have
kill yourself?
postpartum depression.
Did you not admit that in when we had trial before?
I did not have postpartum depression.
You weren't diagnosed with it. Okay. 90% of homeless and runaway children are from fatherless homes. 85% of children who show behavior disorders come from fatherless homes.
It's very pretty.
80% of rapists. Oh, I already said that one. Right? I won't say all the factors, but there's complete statistics because of this study. Let's see here. And this is a good saying as well. In family court, a place where showing love is classified as being emotionally unstable. Contacting your children is classified as harassment, which I believe is our case. That's all I ever wanted to do. False allegations are encouraged and accepted, and perjury is accepted. The truth is ignored, and you pay to see someone that's already yours. The silver bullet. Do you know what that is, Candace?
No.
Did you used to work at Shapiro as a paralegal?
No, I was, I did filing for Bruce Shapiro, and then I did, I was a legal assistant for Vincent Mayo.
So during that time, right before the divorce, did you go meet with Pecos Law Group and get
sorry?
dirty divorce tactics?
I'm sorry?
Did you not go to Pecos Law Group and meet with your friend Leslie, I believe, there and get dirty divorce tactics on what to do and if you wanted to get primary custody?
No. I met with Leslie, and she told me it was going to cost $10,000 to retain her.
Did you know that?
And we just talked about like if she was going to be my counsel. She did not advise me about anything.
The reason why she couldn't be your counsel is because my father had retained them for my parents' divorce case, which was also.
At the time when I met with her, there was no conflict of interest.
That's the silver bullet.
Done dirt cheap.
There's no defense against it. The Urban Dictionary defines it as today's slang as a specific fail-safe solution to a problem. Fail-safe, that's just about sums it up. In today's modern era, witch hunt for domestic abusers and perpetuators of domestic violence, there's a technique used at the time of divorce which is considered fail-safe. Attorneys are actually acutely aware of the technique, and many advise and coach their clients on this technique. Judges, social workers, and growing number of innocent men are also intimately familiar with this technique. Many judges and attorneys have spoken out about it and its one-sided devastation effects in divorce and separation. Its usage immediately secures full custody of the children, which don't you agree that you filed numerous TPOs?
I did file numerous
Did
TPOs.
Mr. McDonald ever try to violate or see you or do this?
Yes, you were actually convicted for violating. You were terrifying me.
Did you ever
were
call or say to come over or do anything like that?
If the one time that you came over was when the children were sick, I never said for you to come over. I have throughout the course of this been afraid of you.
Mr. McDonald never came over your house multiple times. We go to the park across the street.
No.
Or inside
No.
at Deerfield Beach. No? You don't recall that?
Interesting that you remember my address.
You invited me there multiple times. Okay. Due process is set aside and ignored, even outright denied. Not only does it immediately secure full custody of the children, the marital home, vehicle, etc. Do you agree that you got $60,000 to sell the house? You fire sold it for $165 when it was
No, I
appraised at
don't
$210?
agree.
You don't recall that?
No.
You took all the all the marital assets. What, we had $15,000 in equity in the SUV. You took $10,000 out of the safe, which said it was
No,
only $2,000.
none of that happened.
So you got lots of money during this, though, correct?
No.
Did we not meet up with our stepdads and agree to everything? And then
We met with our stepdads before I filed with this court for divorce because we were trying to amicably work
agreed.
out a divorce decree, and you decided at the end of that, after I had drafted all the papers in proper person, that you didn't want to do that because you didn't want to pay child support, and you asked me if in exchange
Quit your job. Just quit. It's fine.
for child support if we just like called it even, and I was like, no, I'm not agreeing to that.
So did you agree to 38% of the time, but not 40%?
No, I did not
I
agree.
recall
to
saying that I want primary custody. If you don't give that to me, I'm going to fight you.
No, this is not about punishing you.
We got to agree to everything else except for custody.
No,
You don't-
there was a lot. You did not want to refinance the house. You wanted to keep it. You wanted to give me like a.
Was Mr. McDonald approved in the refi?
I don't know if you were approved.
So, well, that's
From
another
my
for custody.
understanding,
Yes,
from
you
what
sound
the
very
court had
sick.
said, was that you had a pre-approval letter, and at that time you weren't even approved. And then, upon pulling my credit in January of 2016, you ran my credit for a refinance with my name on it. But because we were still legally married, there's nothing I can do about it. So even if you were approved for a refinance, it was only with my income and my credit that you qualified for that.
Mr. McDonald had a job for over a year and had a refi approved. There's also, if there's one exhibits here that shows a letter from the underwriter to counsel, yet they committed fraud to Judge Hardcastle saying that I didn't have it approved. I was approved for over $152,000, and that was going to be an equal split between both of us. Yet you fire sold the house. Mr. McDonald only got $2,400 and got everything else. He was awarded $24,000. Anyway, let's continue. We'll bring up property issues some other day. Dads count. 63% of youth suicides are from fatherless homes, 5 times the average. 70% of youth in state-operated institutions come from fatherless homes. 71% of high school dropouts, 75% of adolescent patients in substance abuse rehab come from fatherless homes. 80% of rapists motivated by displaced anger come from fatherless homes. 85% of children who show behavioral disorders come from fatherless homes. 15 times the average. 85% of youths in prison come from fatherless homes, 15 times the average, and 90% of all homeless and runaway children are from fatherless homes, 24% the average. Dads are more than a paycheck to a child. They represent safety, protection, guidance, friendship, and someone to look up to. Let's help keep dads and keep them in their lives. Do you agree that fathers make a difference in a child's life?
Absolutely.
Did you have at least a good stepfather
I
in your
have a
life?
great stepfather.
Did you have a good father?
That's still up for debate.
What age were you when you were separated from your father? Or
I
your
wasn't.
mom moved away from your father?
My parents divorced when I was in 4th grade, when I was 10.
About the age of puberty, correct?
I think puberty's a little bit later.
But there's a...
McDonald, is this something that
Sorry,
happened
Judge,
before 2016?
Sorry, Judge, I'll continue with it.
Okay.
On Exhibit I, there's a talking parents that says right here, per the order, you are supposed to pick up the kids at 9 in the school parking lot, which it said, it didn't say exact time on the order. They will meet you in the church parking lot. I've already left my parents' house. If you are not there to pick them up, I'll be back to pick them up. And then afterwards, 4:22, I viewed it. I was already there at around 4:03,
At
4:05.
4:22, you said, please bring Mason out.
And did you not say, I've already left my parents' house?
I had left my parents' house. I came
At
back. I
4:03.
told you that.
So, Mr. McDonald pulls up at 4:05. The car is still there.
What does that say? It says, per the court order, you cannot meet at 9 a.m. Therefore, and what you didn't print out before that, was the conversation that you and I had agreeing to meet at my parents' house. So when you messaged me and said that you weren't coming...
And didn't Mr. McDonald say here, no, you need to drop them off at the grandparents or the school parking lot per the order? Which one?
I'm sorry, I don't even know what you
Exhibit
have
I.
in your
Can I
hand.
show her Exhibit I then, please? Can we do that, bailiff?
No.
Or
That's
Judge?
proposed exhibit I. If you want to refresh her recollection or ask her to testify about it, you can.
Yes,
Is that what
please,
you're?
Judge.
What?
So can we just attest to the entrapment of what happened on 11/11 of 2016? Entrapment abatement.
Okay, if you're asking her questions about that, she seems to be answering it.
Yes, Judge.
Why do you want to show her that piece of paper?
Just to agree that she said that she had left her parents' house.
She agreed she said that.
You agree to say, okay?
Yeah, and then I came back to get them when you said you weren't coming.
And didn't y'all be back to pick them up? So and then Mr. McDonald was there.
Ran across the street,
You were already there.
screamed that you were going to kill Joe, and that whole domestic violence incident occurred. And the issue is this: had you just stayed across the street, you wouldn't have violated the protective order. But because you went inside my parents' garage, you violated the protective order. Because you ran across the street screaming and yelling in front of our children, that violated the order. Had you
I believe
just
the
gone...
parents' house was on the protective order at the last.
Listen, that is what we had done. My parents had exchanged the kids all throughout the time that we had a protective order. We always met at the church parking lot. It was far enough away. I was never involved. Like, I stayed across the street. There was no reason for me to be there. They were gonna do it all. But because you said you weren't coming, obviously Joe and I came back and we were discussing what to do next.
Have you ever seen Exhibit K? The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
We should have taken a shot
The
each
8
time.
charges for sexual assault and lewdness of minor,
Yes.
Joseph Ruiz.
I have seen that. You sent that to me. I told you that was not Joe.
I do not think that's concerning to him.
No, it's not concerning. It's not the same guy. Like, I don't understand. Like, CPS told you that twice.
Metro never gave me any
has told
records.
you that. Your attorneys have told you that. The doctors have told you that. Like, I really don't understand, like, why you are obsessing that this happened when it did not happen.
So let me ask you another question. On Exhibit L, this was after we were being good co-parents, you found out I was dating. On those text messages you sent, you said, I can never trust you again. This was after we spent the night together. And you found the woman I was dating and started texting, found her on Facebook and started messaging her. And these are some of the messages that were sent. Do you not think there could be some emotional or jealousy issues or things like that could have occurred?
Okay, first of all, that is not how it went down.
Do you want Exhibit L to refresh your memory?
No, I don't need to even see it because I already know what happened. She contacted me and asked me if we were still legally married because you had told her that you were not married. And I said, no, we're still legally married. Why? And she said, well, I also found out that he has a protective order. Is he bipolar? And I said, well, he's been diagnosed with bipolar, yes. And then she told me that you guys had been planning to get married and that you had just met her family. And I said, well, that's really interesting because during that time we had free access to be able to contact one another. You had been texting me that whole weekend that you wanted your family back and that you missed us and that you were going to do the right things. And so I said, well, that's really interesting because he was saying he wanted to get back with me. And she asked me to send her the text messages and I did. And I mean, again, these were all on your side. You wanted to get back together. I had still told you, like, no, we're not.
Spend the night together?
No.
So on
No.
page 48, do you remember those text messages that you sent?
That I
According
sent
to Jackie,
to
you
her.
went out last night. Are you a man who wants his family back, or are you a liar? From here, I only communicate with you about the kids. I do not call me unless it pertains to the kids. Do not text me. Do not show up. I want a divorce. It's over. I'm not sure how clear I can make that. I almost believed you wanted to help Jackie help me put things in perspective.
Yeah. I think that it is when you are.
Those are your jealous.
No, it has nothing to do with jealousy. It has everything to do with that, you know, you pretend to be this thing that you're not. And it was concerning. You pretend to be somebody who cares. Like, you pretend to be somebody who
cares about his children and won't.
No, I said that earlier. I think if you cared, you do what you have to do to see them. I used to think that you cared until you've done all the things that you've done to, like, expose them and humiliate them.
Since last quarter, has Ms. McDonald done anything?
Yeah.
Besides the social media?
Besides the social media. No, the social media stuff, like, supposedly. Okay. No, that pretty much sums up the Facebook stuff, the messages from strangers, the YouTube videos.
On page 48, did you not say It's fine. Venti iced coffee, 2 pumps, white mocha cream. This is, and here's the gate code, pound 666.
Yes, and that was the time when Malia was sick and you were bringing the kids back, and there was contact during that time.
And then you said, I got the money. You got the money that I gave you. All right, on Exhibit M, these are the stalking of Miss McDonald on the court grid. It says the date that she was added on, September 19th.
On what?
I'm guessing that I got the money was her saying, I have the money for the coffee. If you pick it up, I'll give it to you.
On Nevada Court Watcher's website, the one that her previous coworker or her previous roommate that was coworkers on, and the former radio show host Mark DeSerio has been posting all kinds of stuff about us. Exhibit M1 is.
I'm going to stop us here, Mr. McDonald. You have 1 hour remaining.
Thank you, Judge.
Hold on, stop. We are going to break for lunch now. We will return. It is 20 minutes to noon. This is a good time to stop because, Mr. McDonald, you have 1 hour left, and I want you to use your time. Have an opportunity to think about how you want to use that hour. If you're going to testify or you're going to tell me things or you want offer some of these exhibits into evidence, which haven't been offered yet, you're going to need time to do that.
How do I?
Hold on. You ask me, you say, can these be admitted? That's how you offer them. Counsel may object about foundation or some other questions, but it's going to take us some time to get through it. I'm going to ask counsel to look at the exhibits. Counsel, if there's
Me
anything
too.
you stipulate to when we get back from lunch, you'll let me know right off the bat so we don't have to get there. Then we'll continue with your examination of the plaintiff. Use your time wisely, and we'll be back at 1:15. All right? Thank you so much.
All rise. We're on the record. We're on the record.
Oh, all right. That was a good one. Jeesh. I don't think his lawyer's going to do much when he asks him questions because he doesn't have to. I mean, if he would try to put on a great case, he could probably hurt his case more because his case is already won. The best thing that her lawyer could do right now is rest, shut up and rest, because he didn't, it was his motion. He did not prove anything in his motion. So, but we'll see. He still has to testify yet if he has time. He might just use all of his time on her and not get to testify. Although somebody said at one point he might get arrested. I don't know, but I keep waiting for it. Don't say. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming out. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for the gifted memberships and the super stickers. I will see you all next time. Bye, guys.
Got these life echoes, digital dreams. Through the screen, her blue eyes gleam. Wicked humor, sharp as a knife. Her stream sparks electric light. Late night when the world sleeps, she's the friend that always keeps. Giggles roll like thunder loud. She stands out in any crowd. Kathy's laugh cuts through the gloom. Eyes blue like a summer's bloom. Her humor dark and twisted sharp. In a way, there's no alarm. Freedom tales late into the night. Her laughter feels just right. Even when my world turns gray, with a giggle she lights the way. Her eyes hear a sky so blue. In her jokes there's a truth so true. Wicked stream she brings the light. Turns dark days into bright. Kathy's laugh cuts through the gloom. Eyes blue like a summer's bloom. Her humor dark and twisted sharp. In a way, there's no alarm. right. Even when my world turns gray, with a giggle, she lights the way. Kathy's laugh cuts through the gloom, eyes blue like a summer's bloom. Her humor dark and twisted, sharp. In a way, there's no